Time for Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show all across your view screen here on Rumble, X, YouTube and Facebook. Joined by a live chat full of fellow friends, fans and companions just like you. And whatever your flavour, whichever was your era, whoever's your doctor, there'll be something to get your time rotor spinning on this edition of the show. Ho, ho, no, what's going on with Doctor Who? We're coming up to the first anniversary of the season 2 finale, 8 months since this confirmation of a continuation this coming Christmas. So what's the hold up? Find out with us as the show continues, the clown show continues, and it's the TARDIS. It's the TARDIS, but not as we know it. More laughs, deliberate this time. We check out the latest Who spoof on Type 40 Live, the Big Who. Just about got it in there. Yes, let battle commence. We are gathered. We've cleared out the war room here. There's nothing unpleasant lurking in any of the corners, I think. Although you never know. We could experience a breach at any time. But I'm poised, I'm ready for action, and I think they are too. Let's see where we are and what's happening. Oh yeah, first of all, hello. I'm Dan Hadley. Whoa, what's going on? I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and we've got some bad wolves and good eggs to bring on once again for your company as well as mine, and to thrash it out. All the various topics we're going to be discussing on this edition of the show. Crisis in Doctor Who? Surely not. Well. Man the battle stations. Yes, we're going all in this time. We're back from the breach with a special report. What could possibly go wrong is how I look at it, particularly when I look to my left and to my right and I see my companions for this set of discussions as well. First of all, let's bring him in. He's not wearing a helmet, well, not yet anyway, just his customary cap. It's Gary Akers, the Retro Doc.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Live. We'll make that a thing.
We could make it a thing. We could change the name. It could catch on. You never know. Could become a thing.
Yes. No. And then, as always, everybody, I have no idea what our host is going to lob at us. So I'm very much not a clue. So I'll be looking forward to what this crisis is all about.
I like how that word there sort of sat at the back of your throat for a little while. I think you're running through a list of 4-letter words, and you arrived at host in the nick of time. It's good to see you.
No, actually, I knew I was going to say host. I was trying to say, should I say gracious? Should I say fantastic? I was just searching for a suitable adjective, Dan.
I believe you. Thousands would. It's good to see
It's great to see you.
It's good to see you, mate. Yes, we're in the war room. I thought this was a fitting location for this edition of the show, because when we do these reports, it's fair to say that it plays better with some than others, doesn't it, historically? But yeah, I'm tooled up. I'm ready. I've got various items of protective clothing on, and we're going in. But how's your week been so far, Gary, in the run up to this?
My Who week?
Generally speaking, how have you been?
It's been, well, I mean, you and I have been, nattering during the week on everything that we locate during our prowling around social media, and we've come upon some fun things. But no, it's good. I haven't watched any Doctor Who this week. I think actually this weekend I actually might go back and do another pass on Dalek's Master Plan, the missing episodes, because I've only seen those once, and it's about time I get back into revisiting them already.
I've continued my watch through of those, so I think I'm about 5 episodes in now. So I watched the loose cannon reconstructions. Then I hit another episode. So I'm moving my way through the story using a variety of different means.
Yeah,
it's really got a grip of me even now, even after a couple of months. I think a lot of fandom is still very much in that space. We just get pulled back every now and again into the heat of battle.
I mean, for that story, as long as you kind of just ignore, what was in the vernacular for so long that, oh, it's too long of a story and 12 episodes. But you get into it, Dan, obviously, as you have, and you're gripped. It doesn't seem too long at all.
No,
it's just
no,
wonderful.
I can completely see why the likes of Ian Levine have held it in such reverence during the decades in which so much of it was completely inaccessible to anybody under the age of like 55, even in.
And for the longest time, I will say this to end this. I will say that for the longest time, I actually thought, back in the days when all you had to go by was like radio times, and you had no idea like how long a story would last. That Marco Polo was going to be 7 weeks, or the Dalek Master Plan was 12, but I saw that came up in my feed. I guess somebody had posted the Radio Times little article from the first, the Saturday that episode 1 came on, describing what was going to happen in the story. And they did say for the next 12 weeks, the Doctor will be all over the universe. I go, wow, they did know going in that it was going to be a 12-part story. I never knew that until like a couple of weeks ago.
Although it's difficult to imagine what viewers would have felt like back in the 60s, experiencing that, I think for those of you out there on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, or X who've looked at a Type 40 show about to start and thinking, oh, God, how long are they going to be on for this time? That's probably the nearest, closest approximation that you can get. But
to everybody watching, we restrain ourselves from going 5 hours every week.
Yeah,
so
we're also a lot lighter on exterminations. And although Charlotte Shields did leave via the emergency exit into deep space last week, a little bit early, we have managed to bring her back. She's not done a Katarina.
No, I haven't. And my dog behaved tonight because we had steak. So she's a very spoiled animal. Like, she had a bit of steak juice in her biscuits. So she absolutely wolfed them down. So she was a good dog tonight.
Very good.
Nom noms. Very, very good. Hello, Charlotte. So we know your dog's okay. How are you?
Good. I'm back downstairs, and a few people asked me last week why my camera was moving. I was sat on a bed. So, and as people know me, I talk with my hands and I move about. So hopefully now it's still the camera, so it shouldn't be going up and down and doing all that fun stuff.
No, you weren't on your bed, my sweet. You were in your secondary control room.
I was in my box secondary control room. Now I'm back to my normal control room, which is better for you, for the folks listening. So
it's just great to have you back, even though we are plunging you straight into the heat of battle, Charlotte. Are you ready? Are you poised? Are you buckled in, even though you are sat up straight this time?
Well, we haven't had Russell chat for a couple of weeks, so we were probably due to have a Russell chat, weren't we? So let's see what happens.
Yeah. You could be right. Fortunately, it's not just the three of us against the elements. We have others. We have other plucky combatants to bring into, not least of all, returning after a few weeks away on hooligan maneuvers and heaven knows what else, Mr. Luke Walters.
All right.
Hello, mate.
Hey!
I love how Luke, whenever you introduce him, just has the most normal, you're all right. So
right.
One day he'll be picking his nose and it's like, what? Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, you're right. I need my eyebrows trimmed. So
you're picking up the slack on the quiff front from me. I'm letting the side down again. I think I'm just going to concede that particular battle to your good self.
No, that's fine. It takes a lot of work in the morning. So I'm quite proud of it. It's getting there.
Very good. There. He says coolly and calmly. How many times did the War Room feature on Doctor Who, Luke? Do you remember? Was it 3 or 4, or is it fewer times than I think?
It's in the 50th. It appears once or twice. Does it appear in? It appears in. Is it the?
Well, Capaldi, you have the Zygon.
They did the mini-sodes as well, didn't they?
Oh, do they count? I suppose they do.
They did the mini-sodes leading up to the 50th, and I think you see one of the Time Lords that's like, because that's what Time Lords do. But I think that maybe there was a couple in there. I don't know. The Gallifreyan War Room, I can't remember how many times we see it. I'm gonna say 4. I don't know.
I've always been rather taken with it. I like the fact that it's sort of heavy and stone, even though all those glyphs and holograms are there dancing across its surface like that and firing our imaginations. I like how old school it is, and we're going old school as well to complete our panel this time. Is he, whatever strategy even that he's got in mind? I know that statistically, the odds will be in our favour, because it's the one and only David Milling.
Hello. Freshly shaven. I can.
Oh no!
The new electric shaver is fantastic. I've got the recharge schedule better. You'll be pleased to hear, Charlotte. And it's lovely to see you again, Luke. When you're not here, you miss Charlotte bobbing up and down on her bed. So
and Luke, you also missed last week David's
meltdown.
Very detailed description of his shaving routine.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and whether or not to use an epilator or not.
Yeah, and then his meltdown looking at charts, which was quite.
Yes, I had a chart meltdown.
Oh, that was very memorable.
Yes, so I can report I am safely back from Stoke. We went to my son and my friend, other Dave, went to see Lincoln at Lincoln. Went to see Lincoln at Port Vale for the last game of the season, and it was fancy dress day. So Peter went as Jay from the In-Betweeners. He had this terrible blonde wig on, a bit like Sylvester McCoy had on when he regenerated into himself.
You've got to watch it with those wigs. One gust of wind and you go from being Jay from the In-Betweeners to one of the Nolan sisters. And
exactly. And
Boris Johnson.
Other Dave and myself, other Dave didn't fancy dress, so we just put on a couple of fezzes. And but the most disturbing thing about Stoke is that on the lampposts, instead of a sort of like planning application or Simmers World sort of advertisement, they had a big sign saying, "For Bangkok ladyboys, ring this number." That's how people in Stoke live, obviously, which is a funny Alan Partridge reference. But yeah, it certainly was an eye opener. And then Peter started asking, why would ladyboys from Bangkok come over to Stoke? And that was quite an interesting half an hour discussion. That we
everyone needs a holiday, no matter what their occupation.
Yeah, exactly. You're in Bangkok, Thailand, lovely place of the world. Where can we go on holiday? The Bahamas, Cape Town, maybe Argentina, Brazil. I know. Let's go to Stoke. Okay, let's all trot along to Stoke. Maybe we could earn a few quid while we're over here as well.
Anybody who's in Stoke, obviously, that's no offense. No. Well, I'm glad that you're winning the battle against the facial fungus. Anyway,
Thank you,
David. So that brings you enough strikes, I think, to join with us
for you.
on the battlefront here for another Type 40 live special report and whatever else we get into. So this first appeared, I think, in the Day of the Doctor. More fantastic memories from 2013 when everything was fantastic, almost too good to be true. Multiple Doctors, a couple of companions. Gallifrey was back for a little while at least, and it was gone again. But there was that many sort of little moments and bits of scenery, set pieces and props, I think, that are still part of the lexicon that I think about quite a lot. I did get to touch this particular war room table when it was at the Experience all those years ago. The late lamented Doctor Who Experience. It was one of several items which I think they told us not to touch, but I did it anyway. Charlotte.
Well, you tell a Doctor Who fan not to do that, and it's like telling a cat not to hit something off a table. It's just sort of like
it is
instinctive then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I felt like a Time Lord for about 45 seconds, Luke, until the security guard obviously came over and had a word.
Yeah, it's kind of, sorry, I just heard my own voice playing back to me. My laptop just randomly started playing one of my own videos, and I was like, I'm so confused right now. I was like, I was like, I'm not talking. Yeah, I loved
Did you
that.
sound good?
It was great. It was the videos of me defending Shooty Gatwa and Jodie Whittaker. What do you expect? Because I got no hate online whatsoever for that. It's like I knew what I was doing. Yeah, no, Doctor Who experience was great. I miss that place so much. But you know, it cost Cardiff a lot of money, and they got rid of Yanto Jones Shrine now. The sign is up. The plaque is up finally. I saw it today on the photo. I went in Cardiff, but yeah, no, all times are a changing.
Sadly, that's a battle that we have lost as Doctor Who fans, but I think that time may have been up with pretty good reason on that.
Also, you say 2013 was a good year for the Series 7 was absolute ass. I'm so sorry. Season 7 was awful. Oh, what a bad year. One good episode that year, and that was the 50th
season. Yeah,
it's awful.
It is bad.
Oh,
I haven't been back to that for quite a time. I remember enjoying some of it, I think, but there's been so much happened since. It seems like about 40 years ago. That seems far, far further in the past than the 50th anniversary event itself. How strange. We had multiple logos that year, if you remember, and we've got multiple logos, weirdly, again now. I mean, this one in particular isn't one that I expected to see. It's slightly different, but it's sort of the same. Different enough, I think, to keep BBC Studios lawyers off anyone's case, because this was tied to a particular morsel that was thrown out to the Doctor Who fan base this last weekend. And to be fair, it has got everyone talking, not laughing. I'm sure that some have laughed, maybe. We'll see. But this has been connected to Sky's fledgling British version of that long-running American staple, Saturday Night Live, Gary. So our version of your show launched in March. It's all been sort of franchised now because Sky is owned by the same people who own the brand SNL internationally, I understand. And it does seem, after an initial sort of wave of apathy and disgust here in Great Britain, it has carved itself a kind of audience out. I think I have heard people talk about this show in a positive light. It's just not necessarily the kind of thing that I would usually be into. But of course, when I heard that this lot were taking on Doctor Who, and obviously Doctor Who's history, 60 years, there's been that many parodies and spoofs, whether it's full shows or sketches or minisodes. This piece, this offering from the SNL UK team, it's joining a kind of long and distinguished line in itself. But I did wonder how this was going to fare, because if you remember, last year, Dead Ringers followed up the Doctor Who season finale with a spoof too, David, and that was rather too on the money. So I hear, for BBC Studios. Here we have a far younger team of satirists coming to the front this time who are eager to make a mark for their show and for their careers. Thought, are they going to be cruel or are they going to be kind to Doctor Who? Because to be fair, at the moment, there's a lot to take the piss out of.
There is. And the Dead Ringers, for those of whom haven't heard it, started around 1999-2000, and it originally had Alistair McGowan on, Ronnie Ancona, and the latest team of Dead Ringers. Sort of John Coleshaw was only a sort of minor player, and then it sort of changed over the years, and Jan Ravens and Lewis MacLeod and John Coleshaw now drive it forward. But Saturday Night Live would probably be a sort of, I think in the UK, the closest thing it would be is a bit like Friday Night Live when we had with Ben Elton, Harry Enfield, Paul Whitehouse. Long time ago in the mid-80s. And it's not generally, live sort of things like this have not generally really grabbed the attention of people. In Britain, we normally go for the sketch shows. And you're right, Doctor Who has been lampooned several times in lots of different sketch shows, but I quite enjoy it. and I've got a really silly sense of humor. So when you shared the clip with us, I strapped myself in, and it really appealed to my silly sense of humor. The the spitting image type dead ringers sort of stuff appeals to my sort of sadistic sense of humor, my dark sense of humor, but this appeals to my really silly sense of humor.
The conceit with this show that's different from something like Saturday Live and Friday Night Live in the mid-80s is more in line, I think, with the show that we had in Britain probably about 15, 20 years ago, called the Friday Night Project, which was hosted by Alan Carr and Justin Lee Collins, if you remember, because they used to have a guest host every week who would do the sort of front of house stuff. David Tennant did that several times, and that's what Saturday Night Live sort of stock trade is, isn't it, Gary? And this time their host was Amy Lou Wood, who is an actress. I understand she's been very successful in a show called Sex Education and another show called White Lotus. So, and we've talked about her before on Type 40 Live for a few weeks ago for whatever reason I can't quite recall. And she is the sort of guest host, and she gets pulled in to the various sketches and skits, doesn't she? One of which involves Doctor Who. And Doctor Who, in this, the Doctor, is played by one of their regulars, Hamed. I knew I was going to struggle with this. Hamed Animashawn. There we are. Hamed Animashawn. There he is in a mixture of Colin Baker, Ncuti Gatwa's, and David Tennant's costumes, and Amy Lou Wood herself appearingly to, I think she's channeling, there's a definite Rose Tyler ambience to that, with perhaps a touch of Ruby Sunday, but they're both kind of archetypal Doctor and companion silhouettes, aren't they, Charlotte?
Well, yes. I sort of, at first I was like, why is her week got the Doctor Who sketch? I didn't quite understand. And then when I sort of thought about it, I said, she is basically the template for every modern day companion actress. She's young, she's pretty, she's blonde, she's modern day, like, so I was like, okay, it makes sense actually that she's got the Doctor Who sketch. And I knew about Saturday Night Live because, like you said, it's in this country, we've known about it, but we've just known the American version. So when they announced the UK, I was intrigued because UK comedy and the UK sense of humour is very different to American. And we our jokes are different, what we find funny is very different. So like you said, I was intrigued, how is it going to translate? So yeah, but I'll wait until we get more into the sketch what I thought.
Well, none of us, Charlotte, are particularly precious about Doctor Who. You know, we pull no punches talking about it, for better or worse, here on this show. I like to think we may be serious about our appreciation of it, but we're not precious about it in any way. I mean, Saturday Night Live, Gary, as a brand, is it considered to be alternative comedy in the States, or is it firmly part of the mainstream now after having been on for the best part of 50 years?
50 years, yeah. I mean, at this point, it's kind of mainstream because whenever people leave, I've not watched it regularly. I mean, I've seen like selected like skits on like YouTube, but the last time I was actually really interested in the show, I think Eddie Murphy was on it. But it always boggles my mind that the Saturday Night Live, they seem to have like 35 cast members. So I'm thinking like the opening credits must last for 20 minutes. Because there's so many people in that cast, but it's Saturday Night Live is not the alternative, kind of like trend-setting anarchic comedy it was, when it first started. It's fully in the mainstream now, at least over here.
Luke, you've grown up too, haven't you, with seeing Doctor Who being lampooned on various shows over the years. As soon as Doctor Who came back, so did the spoofs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What's the most prevalent one? Was I alive? Was I alive then, Gary, for Curse of Fatal Death?
No, you weren't.
No, you must have been about 3.
Yeah, I was
3 or 4.
Curse of Fatal Death. Yeah, I was alive then.
Were you alive for the Lenny Henry skit?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. But
It must
it's like
have
when
been some since then. Like
extras. It was on
Not been a
extras.
Yeah, it was on extras.
It was on extras. When Ricky Gervais played the slug thing, and they had David Tennant, which was good. But that's only a brief cameo. But there's not been that many. If I've been now more than anything, it's the Doctor appearing in like an NTA award package as the Doctor, or he's he's got Anton Deck in like invisible handcuffs and stuff like that. You don't really have that many spoofs anymore. The UK doesn't do sketches anymore outside of like essentially what Dead Ringers was doing back in 2006, and Tony Blair was regenerating into David Tennant.
Tended
and all
to
that
be.
stuff.
I think since in New Who, it tended to be on shows like children's TV shows, Saturday morning style gang TV shows. One of the cast, one of the presenters would dress up as the Doctor, and there'd be a bit of tomfoolery, that kind of thing. But yeah, the more now you've drawn attention to it, Luke, there probably aren't that many because there are so few comedy shows. So I feared the worst when I heard. Well, firstly, I had no faith in Saturday Night Live UK whatsoever, given the state of comedy in Britain. There's not a great deal to laugh about, and very few people who seem to be compliant and understanding of the fact that humour is subjective. And to be humorous, quite often you have to risk offending people, and you know where the culture's gone in Britain. But with this brand new Doctor Who sketch, not only was I impressed by the affection that it directed towards Doctor Who generally, rather than just like the 21st century version of Doctor Who, but actually how funny this was. I really enjoyed this. I was expecting it to feel like 4 minutes in hell, and quite frankly, I didn't really want it to stop.
Spot on, Dan. Spot on. I just loved it from start to finish. It really made me laugh. There were some very funny lines in there, and there was an obligatory knob gag as well, which of course. A knob gag and a fart gag always get me going and always make me howl with laughter. Get me going laughing, Gary, not in a.
No, I was just thinking you're very easily pleased.
I am very easily pleased. My sense of humour is it's on many different levels, and the giggly sense of humour that I have, the silly sense of humour that I have, like knob gags, fart gags, anything like that, it always gets me going, giggling away, like stupid, really stupid humor. I love it. There were so many lines in there that I thought could have been in the wrong person, could have been a bit sort of, oh, that's a bit cutting. But they were cutting lines, they were cutting gags, but they were very funny because of the delivery. With respect to, oh, for goodness sake, can't you ever take me anything nice? Why do we always have to go to a sort of like northern town or somewhere like that? I thought that was a particularly good gag. Something about the knob gag turning into a fanny gag, that was very funny. And also vaping inside the TARDIS while watching reels. I thought was a great line as well.
And I can confirm Triple Mango is the best. Is the best.
Yeah, Triple Mango.
I literally can confirm this.
Vape culture completely eludes me, but there was plenty of gags that I could get on board with. I love a good knob gag as well. Of course, I do. A bit of double entendre. It's fine by me. There was an F-bomb or maybe two, but I loved the sort of the gelatinous creature that they had on screen, and that kind of cheap as chips feel to it. It just chimed with something traditional to not just the appreciation of Doctor Who, but the gentle lampooning of it. It also reminded me of the Gel Guard from the Three Doctors, which I absolutely adore. So all of that was in there. But generally speaking, I just felt that even though Doctor Who is very vulnerable at the moment, and so are the fan base, they made a proper show of us last year by churning out an abysmal series, which made the entire, even the mainstream, what very few mainstream people were aware of it, made them stop and say, what? How far has this show sank? If they could have been a lot crueler than they were. But actually, I think that things like this, little bits and pieces like this that look at the series so fondly, that employ its own archetypes in a more effective way than Russell T Davies has since 2023. I think that in a sense, it's a shame more people couldn't have actually seen this, that it is tucked away on Sky TV, because this may have reminded a few people why they liked the show 15, 20 years ago, Charlotte. Am I over-romanticizing this?
Okay, I think I'm the perfect example right now of comedy is subjective. I found this incredibly unfunny. I didn't laugh once. And honestly, and this is to me, I found it all a bit childish, the comedy.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Definitely.
think that's, for me, I didn't expect it to be a cut-in piece. I wasn't looking for that, because at the end of the day, they have to play nice with these sort of things because they're part of the wider TV landscape. They couldn't be seen to be absolutely having a go at Russell or the choices. But for me, there were sort of two ways this could have worked. It was either going to be really good Doctor Who jokes that fans would have got, or if I looked at it from a more general perspective, because Saturday Night Live is for the general audience, it's sort of very sort of wide sort of appeal. I was like, it could just have been funny in itself, even if it wasn't sort of had that fan sort of writing in it. And even then, I was just like, no, nothing worked for me. The only thing that I can really say positive is the sets were really nice. And the actual creature, I will give you that. The making of it, clearly work went into that, and love, and whoever did that, good for you.
No, it is very silly. It is very silly. It is very juvenile.
That was my issue. Whereas, for example, you referenced the Dead Ringers. I found that so good last year because of the attention to detail and how it did look at certain things of the series and use that. And it didn't have to be that. I didn't like it because it was absolutely digging the knife in. I just found that more clever. And
see, I think with me, Charlotte, firstly, I was expecting to absolutely hate it because I see no need for a British version of Saturday Night Live. I see no need really for an American version of Saturday Night Live, presently, come to think of it. I saw no need for any of this. And in the current climate, I was expecting that any comedy show that would talk about anything anything current, reflect sort of the news of the week, be sort of spontaneous and try to be on the bubble, as they used to say, would be fiercely political. Literally every single moment of it would be fiercely political, to the point where it would just be more propaganda from a mainstream media, which I haven't consumed anything that they put out for years and years and years. So I was actually relieved that this was so childish and so silly, so inoffensive and so sweet. I think its view of Doctor Who is sweet and anchored in childhood, is what I'm saying.
I can see if people like that, that's what they like. And like we've all said, comedy is very individual. So if it worked for you, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It just didn't work for me. It
wouldn't bother me if I never saw it again, Luke, don't get me wrong. But I think we could have come out of this a lot worse.
I thought it was great. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Amy Lou Wood. I know everyone's been touting her for a long time. Yeah. Be like, oh, wouldn't she be good in Doctor Who? After that, I'd be like, oh yeah, actually, she'd be great. I'd love just to drop that character in with like Shooty, because that dynamic. I know they would play together in Sex Ed, but that dynamic. They're both lead characters of Sex Education. Dan.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, so but yeah, they would have played it like Lou. Imagine that Amy Lou Wood character there going up against Peter Capaldi, and she's telling him to fuck off. I'd watch that all day, every day. Yeah, and Saturday Night Live, it's good. I'm glad we got it in the UK. Ratings are doing quite well. It's even better than what WWE was doing back in its heyday when it was on Sky. It's doing
Found an
extremely,
audience.
yeah, it's doing extremely well online, and obviously just got renewed for season 2. And I think online the skits again, something I think it's on total over
Yeah.
85, 86 million. And obviously Sky's just renewed it, so just goes to show that ratings don't mean anything. So
Yeah, and I think why it worked also, and this is a sort of semi-serious point, is that it always is a semi-serious point with me.
love a semi.
Yeah, I love a semi. And
Got a knob joke.
knob gag coming back in there. The guy who played the Doctor, whose name you had difficulty pronouncing, and I've forgotten. I'm so sorry.
Hamed. Let's call him Hamed. Hello, Hamed, if you're
right,
watching.
so Hamed who played the Doctor. Even in a comedy sketch, you have to have a straight man and a funny woman, man character. Okay, somebody with all the gags. You have to have the setup. But the best thing about it is that he played the character of the Doctor completely straight, completely serious, along the lines of how the Doctor should be played. You know, I can't understand why you find this monster, this tree so incredulous. You know, you can't offend it, all this, that, and the other. And he played it absolutely straight down the line. There was no camping up. There was no stupidity. There was no ridiculousness about it. And in order for the comedy to work, you have to have somebody who is a straight part of the double act, so to speak, to set up all the gags. The only gag
David,
really...
David, do you think that he, because I don't know how this show is put together, do you think that Hamed is actually a big Doctor Who fan and this was his chance? And
yeah,
because I think that he seemed to be, bear in mind that I've never seen another sketch from this. I don't know who he is. I don't really know who Amy Lou Wood is either. So this is all completely new to me. But it did seem to be, to me, like there was somebody, a young man, kind of living a bit of a childhood dream there.
Most probably. And he sold it. And even his line at his only funny line was really at the end, the main funny line at the end, where he said, Black Doctor at a crime scene can't be seen by the space police. Got to be out. I've got to stop picking up white girls. And then he goes, but it wasn't delivered as a ho. It was delivered totally sort of meaningfully and straight. And that's what I mean. He gave, for me, in a comedy sketch, which was 4 minutes long, he gave more gravitas, and Luke, I'm sorry if you disagree with me, more gravitas to the role as Doctor Who than my friend Shooty, I believe, just in that small performance. I thought he was far more believable, far more doctorish than Shooty was, which I felt like Shooty was almost sending up the role, and he was actually respecting it.
The only bad side to this, I think, is that if this was Hamed's audition for Doctor Who, he's not the person who they've latched onto as a potential Doctor after this. Well, when I say they, I'm talking about the mainstream. Radio Times is just one of several outlets who are insisting that Doctor Who fans are calling for Amy Lou Wood to become the next Doctor. Quite frankly, now I haven't come across any of them. I'm sure there are some out there. I can imagine Radio Times have scoured the internet for 3 or 4 people, enough that they could justify banging this ridiculous article together there, because of course she'd be frigging atrocious as Doctor Who. She was speculated as being a possible candidate for the role a couple of months ago. We talked about her at the same time we ran through a few of the bookies various choices there to take the part. And having now seen her play Elle, who was the companion there in that skit, yeah, I have to say she'd be completely and utterly unsuitable. But I did enjoy her part there in the Saturday Night Live UK Doctor Who sketch. You say these are all over YouTube. They're clipping them, Luke, and they're dropping them out onto their own social medias so that people who don't watch TV traditionally can sort of take it in piecemeal. Is that the way forward with this?
Yeah, I mean, I literally just said that about Amy Lou Wood. If you know where to look, Amy Lou Wood has been touted and been in fan circles as a name for the Doctor for a long while.
I don't get
For
it.
a long while.
Don't get it.
I can see it. She's a very strong actress. So I don't see, absolutely go for it. But yeah, no, that's the way it is now. It's like loads of people now watch traditional. They don't watch traditional TV anymore. It's like I'm a big WWE fan. I don't sit down and watch an entire 3-hour episode of Raw. I catch up the highlights and then I'll just No, I just watched the clips of it on TikTok and then watch the pay-per-views. I haven't got time.
My kids used to spend all afternoon watching Raw and then SmackDown another night.
Yeah, back in the day when it was on like Sky One and now it's on Netflix. Obviously, it's a lot more accessible. But people are busy. You've got work, and you're like, oh, cool. I'll just see what happened very quickly, and then if it's something that piques interest, I'll have a look proper into it. But normally, I just watch the pay-per-views live. But that's just how people are just consuming media now. People are just going more and more online and just okay, cool. Like a lot of people are not going to watch the Saturday Night Live show, but they'll go and watch the Doctor Who sketch for that. And who knows, a couple of them may then be like, oh, cool, this is fun. All right. Oh, we got Shooty on in next week or the week after. We'll watch that, or we'll go and watch the Jack Whitehall one. So it does work. And it does tend to help the audience a little bit. So.
Yes, I've noticed this. They've announced their remaining hosts ahead of time. There's 2 more shows left in the series, and the 7th one is hosted by Hannah Waddingham. I know her. I know the name, sort of know the face. But the season finale will be hosted by Ncuti Gatwa, in character as Ncuti Gatwa, which is exactly how he played Doctor Who, of course. It'll be no different whatsoever. I can't see that swinging it for the Saturday Night Live UK audience, but it seems that I could have been wrong about this show generally. It is carving out an audience to whatever extent that it seems to wish to. So I can only wish it well for the people who enjoy the show. And if it continues to please people, I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to knock it for that. But I do wonder how they arrived at Ncuti Gatwa to wrap up their season. It's not something that I'd be especially sold on, but who knows? The ratings have been, as you said, Luke, I mean, it's a different landscape, isn't it, now? This is tucked away on Sky, which is also evolving in the same way that terrestrial TV has. So I would imagine they have their own desired outcomes for a show like this, and a number of, however X amount of series they're going to give it, to see if it can really get a foothold with the British public in the way that it has in America. Because let's say Gary's grown up and various people have grown up watching it, it would seem. So that could happen here. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a couple of people that auditioned for it as well. So, if it's going to bring the next wave of comedians into Britain and some of my mates are going to get work from it, then all power to them. And I know next season is next season's 12 episodes instead of 8. So they must be.
Oh, wow.
So they must be happy with it. So more power to them.
So if we wanted a part 2, if we wanted a sequel to this kind of spoof, to this minisode, if you like, with this 16th Doctor, then I suppose we could all sort of bombard their socials and see if they make one with whoever would be the host.
Yeah.
Give Hamid a chance to
do that. Do it again. I'll be fine.
Do you think Ncuti would do a Doctor Who related skit?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Luke, I get you. Here's the interesting thing, though, because they do a monologue, don't they, to open it as part of the format. Oh, no. Yeah. So it will be a massive elephant in the room if he doesn't mention Doctor Who, you would think. Yeah. So it's how they go. That's the thing that when I saw Ncuti, so he was going to do the finale, I was like, when it comes to main sort of things he's known for, he's got sex education and Doctor Who. Like, those are the 2 things. So he can't really ignore one, because then what's going to be his material? So it's going to be interesting just how it's referenced, even if he doesn't do a sketch.
Yeah, maybe that's why Russell was there for this one and not Shooty's finale.
Do you know an interesting sort of subplot to it as well?
I know nothing.
He's going to be hosting a Saturday Night Live on the same night Eurovision is going to be on live. Ooh. So there you go. So I wonder if he'll show up.
There we go. Divided loyalties there, possibly. for Shooty Gatwa and for Shooty Gatwa fans. Who knows what channel Russell will be watching that night? I think I'd rather not know. He's probably too busy. I think he's probably too busy thinking.
He was in the audience for he was in the audience for that sketch.
He was. And he was sharing it with praise on social media. But then again, that's what he always does. We're going to be diving deep, head first into the vortex later on in the show to talk about him and that and the questions that you guys have been asking us now for months, of course. But before we get there, let's catch up with people in the live chat, take the pulse and the temperature both at once, and see what they've got to say about all of this nonsense so far, and all the hellos and customary greetings after we get a quick check-in with him.
That cursed doctor is interfering with my plans, but I will destroy the universe. He won't be able to stop me, but you might, if you watch Type 40.
Good man. Couldn't agree more. He's not always right, but when he is right, he's right in a big way. Archie Master. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this one, including Stephen O'Neill, who chimed in with a weather report. As ever, we have our various analysts all over the country now. Our meteorologists, that's the word I'm looking for, meteorologists, time to let us know how things are going up their way. So Stephen, in the nicest of ways, of course. Stephen is there in Wigan as ever. Jonathan Cox is here too. Evening, everyone. Evening, everybody, from Adrian James, and lots of customary greetings all along similar lines, including one from the Zero Room here. Good afternoon and good evening to all. Stephen O'Neill is asking when the next Blu-ray collection will be released. Who knows? Who knows? We're due a trailer. Gary, I think we're due a trailer. What we're going to do about it? Who should we write to? We're due a trailer, aren't we?
Yeah, I would say probably around June or July.
You think June or July? Could be. Only a couple of colour seasons left, isn't there? Heaven knows. We should hear something soon, Stephen. We should. Hello to Peter Harrington in the live chat, and Rose Kirby too. A big, she's got all caps here for a big.
Oh, hello, Rose.
Hello, chat. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, wherever you are. Hello from Rose. Evening all, says Woodhouse122. Hello, everyone from Peter. We don't get the good weather. It's been cancelled. Laments. Peter, yeah, it's gone parky again. Charlotte and I were talking about that earlier on. It's time to layer back up after all.
Yeah,
it's that weird part.
Sorry,
you go ahead, Charlotte. Sorry.
I was gonna say I can't wear my '60s top with my arms out like I did last week.
Oh, you see what you missed, Luke. It's that weird time of year where you
missed Zero Room dancing. You missed all of this talk about the weather. The chat buzzing according to Garbage there. How good to see you, Garbage. But Mr. Matt is disappointed. He's not a happy camper because I'm not wearing my woolly hat. It's not got that cold yet, Mr. Matt, although it wouldn't surprise me if things don't drop even further. So it may well get brought out of the drawer. You never know. Toon Army says, Dan, is this AMC deal real or fake? Now, this is one of a number of really... Oh, come on. Is this a serious question? Of course it's fake. This was doing the rounds nearly 2 weeks ago now, and it was immediately obvious to us it was a total fake. So do we really need to ask about that? And more on that later in the show. But yes, of course, it's a fake. Several fakes have sprang up before and since. So fake, it's not remotely worth wasting our time or your time talking about. But there we go. It's popular online, says Toon Army. As well. Now, I think Toon Army is talking, I think that's back to the Doctor Who sketch there. I think it's popular online, and he agrees with you as well, Luke. Luke, I enjoyed it.
No, I think he was talking about Series 7.
Oh, okay.
Series 7 was a load of shit.
It was a bit gash. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, looking at the
Sorry.
Saturday Night Live sketch, we have reviews of that in the live chat as well. Fly Highland completely agrees with you, Charlotte. As usual, Charlotte has the best take, whereas Michael Stewart says it's the first time I've ever disagreed with Charlotte.
Come
I
on.
thought it was bloody hilarious, and Saturday Night Live has got funnier. It deserves that second season that Luke
See,
tells us is on the
That's
way.
what's good about our chat, folks. We can be polite and agree and disagree with each other. That's the fun of it. Gary, what did you think? Because obviously it's sort of SNL is your natural home when it comes to America. So what did you make of this sketch?
Well, okay.
And for the next
Waiting,
segment.
I can tell.
I'm
the next 2
definitely
hours.
I'm definitely on team Charlotte.
That would be
Because I actually thought, I'll give it credit for one thing. I thought that the creature was much better than Suteki Do and Omega.
Suteki Do.
I thought, we didn't get like a dog, the Sutek doggy or Omega. I thought this was a better creature than that. I was surprised I wasn't expecting like something savage, although Lord knows if they wanted to go savage, they have more than enough things that they could do. But I was surprised by just how soft it was, that there wasn't really, I would think that again, I'm not a regular weekly viewer of the American Saturday Night Live, but they do try to take the mick out of some stuff and, poke holes in, pomposity and everything and mock and everything, not in a mean way, sometimes in a mean way, but mockingly. And I was just surprised that this was just like almost kind of like just too soft, that there wasn't really, this didn't even, they could have done this skit 10 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever, considering that it was just about the Doctor and Companion arrive, make jokes about the ugly looking monster and something like that. I was just expecting something a little bit more edgy. Again, not savage, but edgy. And so that kind of surprised me. Like Charlotte, I don't think I laughed once. It was just kind of okay. It just didn't really, it's nothing that I'm gonna, it's basically kind of like eating porridge. There's no flavor to it, but it's like, okay, it's something to do for 5 minutes. Something to do for 5 minutes. I do have a remote review that I want to share with you from a friend of the show, Sarah Graham, because she actually said, "Did you watch it? Did you watch it?" And so I finally watched it. And her short review begins, "Well, that's 5 minutes of my life that I won't get back." She said, "I did prefer the Dead Ringer sketch." She just said she didn't really find it funny apart from the last comment about the black man being caught at the scene of a crime. She said it raised a small smile. That was about it. She said she thought it smacks of the 80s when everyone was pointing and laughing at Doctor Who. We're back to Doctor Who being an embarrassment. It's a useful indicator to show how Doctor Who is viewed by others. And then she says, she will say this, the bloke was still a better actor than Shooty. So that was Sarah's
interesting.
review.
I've not spoken to Sarah about it, so that's complete coincidence.
We do have another comment here in the live chat, another review from Philip Roy, and he says, "I loved the sketch. I thought the monster was better than anything we got in the Gatwa era." So it's having the same sort of effect on a lot of people.
Now, I do want to add, I will not be surprised, since Russell was apparently in the audience for this, that we're going to end up, noting his, penchant for, originality. I'm sure we're going to get some form of that creature in the Christmas special.
Gary, can I just ask a question? When Bill Shatner did his infamous appearance on Saturday Night Live and turned the Starship Enterprise, it turned the Starship Enterprise into a sort of like a free dining experience.
That was Patrick Stewart.
No, I think Bill Shatner also did Captain Kirk when it was a restaurant. I'm certain it was Bill Shatner.
Was it?
Did you? Yeah. Did you? Is that something you found funny? Because it's again lampooning.
Again, here's the thing. It's not necessarily for me, David. It's not like the setup, because the setup is just what it is. The setup is basically the setting for the humor. The setup itself, the humor shouldn't be all in the setup. Do you know what I mean? It's like if they do funny stuff with it, like when Patrick Stewart was on, they did the Starship Enterprise's The Love Boat, and he was Captain Stubing, which was, I remember because they did a lot of funny stuff like with that. Or with Shatner's infamous Get a Life sketch, which became actually was so brilliant, it became part of the lexicon. It became part of the fan lexicon.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily, it has to be more, to answer your question, David, for me, it has to be more than just the setup. Is like, what do you do with it? It has to be like all of it all together.
Yeah, and the setup for this was just, it's an ugly alien. Like, that's all I got.
Yeah.
With a penis.
That's probably why you lads enjoyed it a little bit. I'm going to be honest.
Farting.
Yeah, I like the toilet humour and the knob gags. Banter writes, SNL UK is like its American equivalent, hit and miss, according to AF Jaker now. In the live chat, I found the Doctor Who sketch okay. The Operation sketch with Riz Ahmed was much funnier. There you go. Well, that's rather you watch that than me. I don't think he's very funny at all. But there we are. What do I know?
Now, actually, one more thing about like sketches on Saturday Night Live, for example, David, and what you brought up, another really brilliant skit they did, and this was back in the original era, the John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray era, and it was a brilliant sketch then. It's brilliant now. It's on YouTube. Last Voyage of the Starship Enterprise, where Belushi is Captain Kirk, and in the middle of him doing the log, one of the NBC execs walks in and cancels the show.
Yes.
And it's like phasers on stun. And it turned out to be the actual, and then he leaves the final captain's log as they start turning down all lights, which is incredibly meta, but a really, really, really well-written sketch. So that's the kind of thing. It's like you can have a concept like that, but it's always what you do with it.
Yeah,
we've got a comment here from Darren Bradley in the live chat. Good to see you, mate. And he adds, Series 2 of Death Valley, starring Timothy Spall and Gwyneth Kayworth, begins on BBC later this month. A perfect Doctor companion chemistry. The pilot episode was a great premise for a Doctor Who reboot too.
I agree. I love Death Valley.
I can't comment on it because all of my friends worked on it.
Okay.
So I'm saying,
Luke, can I just say, Luke, I loved it. I thought it was a great show.
Is this another cozy crime show along the same lines as Death in Paradise and the Architect?
But it's Timothy Spall is basically an ex-actor, so it's got that different take, and it's sort of.
I think I have seen 10 minutes of this. Yeah,
sort of had his heyday. And is sort of living out his life after that fact.
Have you seen Mammoth? Sorry, it's going to complete left here. Have you seen Mammoth?
That looks brilliant, but I've never seen it.
It's a BBC show. It's about a
it's on the BBC.
It's a PE teacher from the 70s that gets trapped and frozen on a skiing trip, and then they wake him up in 2024 or 2025, and he's exactly the same as he was in the 70s, and it's the funniest thing ever. If you can,
good. I'd watch that.
Yeah, they're doing an American reboot of it for some reason.
Of course they are, because those those always work out so well.
It sounds good. I'm going to give Death Valley a go as well, David. I mean, I do sort of tire of these sort of cozy crime things. I think there's only so many that one can theoretically watch, and I've sort of chosen my poison really with the Art Detectives, starring Stephen Moyer. But I think this could be worth a look after all. I know that older members of my family, the Silvertops, they watch it and they have a good time with it. So maybe I should take a look, especially if so many of Luke's mates are involved in the making of it.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a sort of like turning it on its head, because you've got a rather feisty female detective sergeant with a bit of a HR nightmare sort of boss, in the fact that he's absolutely petrified of saying the wrong thing to get him in trouble with HR, and he's terrible at his job.
Mammoth, David?
And Death Valley, she idolizes Timothy Spall, because he used to play, his character was this brilliant detective inspector that used to solve all these mysteries. And so she
was a fan of his when he was on the telly.
Yeah, he was on the telly, and he's sort of like a washed-up retired actor with a bit of a dark past. And so she eventually persuades him to get involved in stuff, and he laps it up, despite an initial sort of reticence. He then really starts to lap it up. So it's really good.
This does sound a lot of fun. And who am I to stand in the way of people having some fun with dressing up and living out their fantasies? That's very much what the Doctor Who fandom does, isn't it? I just wanted to say thank you for all the comments in the live chat, the various people who've turned up since, and for those who have a big weekend stretching out in front of them. I hope you all have a brilliant time at the 50 years of the DWAS event, the capital event that's coming this weekend at London Gatwick again, Saturday the 9th and Sunday the 10th of May 2026 at Crown Plaza, put together, of course, by the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, headed up by coordinator Tony Jordan. This is the event of the year for the Appreciation Society, their 50th anniversary year, obviously, and congratulations to everybody connected with this event and the Society members, past and present, of which I'm included 2 or 3 times over. Can't wait to hear and see everything that people get up to at the event, whatever of it does make its way to social media. And of course, we appreciate the fact that it is benefiting Film is Fabulous as well. So one of their associated charitable partners there at the capital event this year is Film is Fabulous. So get involved if you're there. Go and check it all out, and obviously contribute, donate to Film is Fabulous via the DWAS. If you can. I can't wait to see what people have to say about that when they make their way back. A Lady of Traken, for example, I think that she may be going. She's in Crawley. That's not too far away. It's enough. You can sort of crawl there and back, can't you? I think the pubs, there'll be a few stops on the way. I think there's probably a Wetherspoons close by if I know Tony there, so that could be all right. So yeah, have a great time, everybody, at the capital event this coming weekend. And if you want more on the 50th anniversary of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, join us on the Type 40 podcast. The latest edition there was myself and Anthony. We got to talk to Tony for a couple of hours there about the history of the society, the plans for the convention, and gave Tony the platform to have a real geek out too about everything that's exciting him about Doctor Who so much still in 2026, enough that he can get together the sort of gumption and the resolve to put together an event like that in the first place. That's at the usual places, all major podcatchers, and our home feed at type40.podbean.com. There's a video version, an enhanced video version here on the channel too, along with all our playlists of podcasts, videos, and more of these live streams that stretch on and on and on for you to enjoy for the first time or over and over again. It's our evergreen content, everybody. Knock yourselves out is what I always say. Knock yourselves out. And this is Type 40 Live, continuing on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook too. We've got a meaty one. There we go. There's another double. We've got a meaty one to get stuck into this time, everybody. So compose yourselves and never fear. Worse things happen at sea. And all that, whatever could go wrong, we're going to get stuck into it after a quick word from him.
Your name?
Chris Eccleston.
Where are you from?
Salford.
Your occupation is?
Unemployed Time Lord.
What was the best thing about playing Doctor Who?
The response of children like yourself.
Were you nervous about playing the Doctor?
Yes.
What did Christopher Eccleston bring to the role of Doctor Who?
These.
Does the Doctor fancy Rose Tyler?
Absolutely.
If you had Doctor Who as your specialist subject, how well would you do?
Terribly.
Back to reality here with Type 40 Live, Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. The past, the present, and the future of all things Doctor Who. Looking back to the past now, of course, it was late last May when Doctor Who departed our screens. The reality war, if you remember. Good God. I think some of us sustained more war damage than others, didn't we? It all went with a flash and a bang. Ended with a hello, didn't it?
Is it me you're looking for?
How long did that episode last? I have no idea. I just remember sitting and watching, aghast, numb, and sometimes with that kind of nervous, hysterical laughter that I think Doctor Who fans have got used to emanating from them, particularly in recent years. What on earth had we just watched?
I thought it was great. I had a great time.
Yeah, you're the one bloke I know who likes it, Luke.
Yeah,
What have we watched? And more to the point, what are the odds on Doctor Who surviving a fucking car crash like that? Luke, what did you enjoy so much about it, though, mate? Seriously, what did you find to enjoy? I don't like just stepping over someone's enjoyment.
To be fair, I haven't watched it in a long time now. But no, I thought it was fun. I thought it felt very big and grand, like a finale should. I thought Shooty was great. It was nice to see the unit tower do some spinny things and shooting. I love Omega, not that iteration, so I was very excited up until he popped out. I thought
popped out.
That was very good. Thought the Rani was good. I found out Billy Piper was the
Which
Doctor
one?
about a week. Both of them were good. To bring back the Rani just to make a two Ronnies joke is ballsy, but
It was
I
a
like
top
it.
gag.
Yeah, and I thought Shooty was good. Yeah, no, I had a great time watching it. To be fair, I did have food poisoning at the time, so I was dying to death while I was watching it. I was.
Wow.
I enjoyed it. I love that tagline. I
Yes.
enjoyed it because it was better than food poisoning.
Oh yeah,
know.
actually, no, to be fair, yeah, I was.
Maybe that's the only way to watch that episode and actually enjoy it, is to give yourself.
Yeah,
food
I was very, very rough. I was very rough, and so I watched it, and I had fun. I had a good time watching it. It was nice that my head wasn't down the toilet. It wasn't on the big white phone to God for a change. But yeah, it cheered me up, and I was like, yeah, you know what? It was a bit of fun. I knew everyone would hate it, but I was like, yeah, I enjoyed it. Who cares?
For the bulk of the fandom, a lot of the time since has been spent applying a kind of virtual ointment to our wounds, I feel, and processing what we watched, observing the damage done to the show, because I accept that some people may have enjoyed it, but it was very evident from the reception outside of the show, whether you're a dedicated viewer or a casual viewer or even a kind of disinterested observer. A lot of people did seem to think, this really is conclusive proof that the time has come to close the book on Doctor Who, at least for now. I couldn't argue with any of that realistically. Strangely enough, though, it wasn't too much further into the future when an announcement came of a continuation and a reassurance we'd see the TARDIS again. And this was in late October on the BBC's own press release there. Of course, Disney, they had fled the crash site, hadn't they? Leaving a few interested parties and partners in a continuation of Doctor Who. What, who, and how can Doctor Who bring together, I suppose, to produce something tangible to follow on from that in just 13 or 14 months, that there could feasibly be any demand or appetite for? That's what I kept coming back to. In a short period of time, we'd been served quite a lot of Doctor Who and associated programming since. We've had an event series since, but none of it set the world alight. None of it has really sat well with the fandom either. All the interactions and engagement and conversation surrounding Doctor Who have been very, very weary, worn, and I think the word I've used before is beleaguered. Nevertheless, the speculation has continued about the series, any series future that could exist, short term or indeed long term. We're asked all the time, what's happening? What have we heard? What do we know? Is this even is this even happening? Because all that we've had is that press release and this fabulous slide with the TARDIS bursting out of a vortex, which at the time it seemed, seemed almost reassuring that someone still had their hand, at least one hand, on the steering wheel, and that we would see a version of the series at some point in the future. Now I feel that we're at a place where we can confidently and legitimately bring you up to speed on where things are at now, following conversations that we've had at Type 40 with multiple trusted sources. Some of it will go down better than others, I have no doubt. We know how this goes. And of course, this is the state of play as it exists right now, and should be treated for the time being, I suppose, of course, as rumour and speculation, Russell. Don't get too upset. Don't get too upset. So yeah, this is something we get asked about all the time, Charlotte. You know, we're all of us interested parties. We wouldn't be interested in Doctor Who. We wouldn't be continuing to talk about it, to be involved in this show and the podcast if we weren't still interested and invested in Doctor Who to some degree, would we?
Yeah, because the difference is, if you compare the last time we had a Wilderness Years, you had an ending with Sylvester walking into the sunset with his companion. You had that final story, which they didn't know at the time it was going to be the final story. But in a weird sort of how the universe can work sometimes, it was fitting for that. And you had that monologue, which they did record when they knew it was going to be the final one. So that was them trying to put some sort of like bookend to classic. And I think because of that, there was still that sort of, when's it going to come back? But people were sort of left without this sense as much of an unfinished story. And I think the difference is now with that ending, with Billy's face appearing and all the other things that were just nonsensical with that run we've just had. It still feels like we need that ending bit of the story. We need something, so at least we can say Russell's era, Shooty's era, this whole sort of second coming of Russell T Davies has come to a stop. And I think that's why we are still having the conversations, people online are speculating. I think that's why people are putting out false stuff as well, because they know there's that vacuum. And I think that's the expectation in that regard, I think, is going to be very high, not for Russell's writing, but that can you at least give us some sort of conclusion? I think that's the word I think fans are looking for. Whether they'll like it or not is a different matter, but I think that's what they're looking for.
Unfinished business, Gary, is Charlotte right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think to her very well stated point, that I think that's the effect that Russell wanted. He wanted to have that cliffhanger, I guess, for lack of a better word, that would allow almost maybe, and probably he hoped necessitate him coming back to wrap it up himself. I mean, even at the time we commented that it was kind of a gimmick, that it wasn't really a story surprise. It was more just kind of an eye-rolling gimmick. But, you know, like Charlotte said, I mean, as fans, we're completists, and, you know, we want the end of the story, whether it's, I don't know, I guess it's like we want the story, we want that era, we want to know that this era is over and done. There's a period, end of sentence, so we can all kind of move on to the next thing and not have this. We don't want to entertain the possibility that there could be more of this. We just want it wrapped up.
So when you say wrapped up, you don't just mean the silly gimmicky finale. Do you mean the entirety of Disney's connection with
Yes.
Doctor Who, this regime, this production team, all of these mistakes?
Yes. I mean, it has to be, we have to kind of be able to close the lid, because right now we can't close the lid on the box and bury it. I mean, we dug the hole, but we have to wait for the lid to close before we can put the box in it and put the dirt over it. So it just, we just don't like unresolved things. We don't like incompleteness, which is why we adore it when missing episodes show up. As Who fans, we want everything to be complete, even the end of this era.
I mean, how do you feel about it, David? I mean, Gary's talked about the missing episodes there. This is something that's occupied a lot of our time, our conversations for the last 2 or 3 months. Does this keep running in the back of your head? Yeah, but this is all well and good, but what about Doctor Who? What about the future? Like you've left an open tab somewhere that you can hear in the background. You can't quite work out where it's coming from. It's unfinished business. It needs to be closed. You need to hit the Control W to close that window down.
Yeah, I am with Gary on this one. I'd make it broader. I think we as people, as humans, if you like, us humans, whether we be normies or geekies, we really do need that full stop at the end of the sentence. We need closure. It's like ending a sentence with a comma. You're waiting for the next few words. You're waiting for the rest of the sentence to finish and the paragraph to be over and the chapter to end. And I think it has left us in a state of limbo, which we are now wondering, excuse me, what happens next? Where are we going to go next? And it's sort of like an unhealthy place to stop. And life, unfortunately, doesn't always give you that end of the sentence. Or it gives you an end of the sentence that you probably weren't expecting, or it ends prematurely. But on this specific case, we've just got we've not even got a ... We've just got a comma. We've just got a right. Okay, what next, please? And when you have those limbos, you have, as we call it, silly season that Charlotte alluded to. You have people inventing things to try and fill that space. You have lots of speculation when actually what you want is clarity. And I've found it to be quite a difficult period with respect to, because I obviously shared with you on our admin group that thing about the AMC that was sent to me. And you have these sort of generic sort of things that are filling this. Is somebody going to be the next Doctor? Here's the latest odds. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen with the special. It's not going to happen. Yes, it is going to happen.
David, when the air leaves those tires, somebody seems to come in somewhere and pump them back up again. And so these stories, they come back into the kind of the fan community. And you have to no, that's bollocks. We talked about that before, and we seem to go round and round in circles because there's nothing else filling the vacuum, I suppose. So I feel like I can't be too mad at that sort of stuff. I just feel that we have to be very clear that we can spot a turkey, we can spot a fake when we see it, because we've been doing this a long time.
And I think the problem is because when you let other people, and I appreciate the BBC's position on this, but when you leave, they can't just say, yes, it's going to be a special, yes, it's going to be this length of time, yes, these are the people that are going to be in it, yes, this is the plot, this is what you can expect, blah, 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 because people can't do that. But at the moment, there's this vacuum of just silence. It's just absolute deathly silence. And unfortunately, with social media, is the fact that if you just have that silence approach, you then lose control of your own project, because other people will take control of that narrative and then spin it to what they want it to be. And then you get this vacuum of noise, if you see what I mean, which is a physical impossibility. But you get this vacuum from your creator, your owner of the IP. But then other people fill that vacuum with noise and speculation and wild speculation and claims and all this, that, and the other.
What I always say, David, is that we're not entitled to know any of these things. The concerns of private individuals and a private enterprise as well, a commercial enterprise. So our investment is to be understood and accepted. And I think that fans should be respected. Respect the fan has been a slogan on this corner, I suppose, of fan commentary for the best part of a decade now. And I think that still holds true as a standard. But we have to also be clear and be understanding of the position that people are in. And even though we can only be observant of these kind of courtesies and customs up to a point in the capacity as customers, obviously patience is also a virtue. I think the fans have been quite patient as it is, and quite, thank you, David. I think the fans have been quite patient as it is and very loyal, Luke. Loyal and understanding and patient. So very patient. I mean, what do you want to add to what David's just said?
I don't care. I love Doctor Who. I've made incredible friends because of the show. But it's a show. If I want to watch Doctor Who, I can just pick up a DVD or go on the iPlayer and watch Doctor Who and have a good time. If the special happens, brilliant. If it doesn't, cool. At this point, I don't care. And I know people are up in arms on Twitter, being like, "We haven't heard nothing about the Doctor Who Christmas special." I was like, "Look, we're paying public or license fee payers. We're not entitled to know the production schedules of what went into this. This is a company that's producing a product for us. It will produce it when it sees fit, and we're not entitled to know the ins and out of everything." So it's, when you're seeing people getting so wrought and het up over it, it's like, look, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just a TV show. I know it means so much to so many people, and I get it. And as I said, I've made like brilliant friends and I'm on here with you lot and Gary. And but at the end of the day, it's I love Scream. I love Doctor Who. I love wrestling. I love rugby. It's like, the other things going on that is like, I don't care. It'll be nice to see it when it's on, but I'm like, I don't care if it ever comes back.
Okay, well let's get stuck into it then. So this is what we've been told here at Type 40 by multiple sources. The questions you've been asking about, the people that you've been speaking about as well, specifically in relation to this special that's coming. It is coming, right, Russell? Okay, so first of all, let's start with him, shall we? David Tennant, the man who's played not just two incarnations of the Doctor now, but other variations too. The actor people, I think, both inside the fan base and in the broader media, who are still sort of interested and keeping track, this is the actor that people are assuming will drop everything for Doctor Who, will be involved there when the series is on its uppers, if you know what I mean. When the series is in distress, they ring the cloister bell and they call David Tennant. It makes perfect sense, despite the fact that he's not perhaps as loved as once he was. It's still a reliable, I suppose, call to make that David Tennant will be there should the battle stations require any kind of manning, right? I can tell you that as of right now, as of time of recording, David Tennant is absolutely out of this special. That's if he was ever in. David Tennant remains one of Britain's most in-demand actors, doesn't he? I think whether we like him or not, we can accept that. Rivals his Jilly Cooper adaptation. This has been really, really popular. That's back for another season this year, pretty soon. He's also got a third series, sort of Good Omens, this intolerable show that he does with Michael Sheen. My God, whoever watches this nonsense? Anyway, they made more.
This is a good show.
I love it.
Yeah. He's also filming a third series of Jimmy McGovern's acclaimed prison drama Time. So that's going on right now. as I understand it. And that sort of centers around a young offenders institute. It's a real quality show. And I'm interested in the fact that David Tennant's going to be involved. But he's also doing voiceover for the new series 2026, that comedy show from the makers of W1A. I can't stand that either. And David Tennant continues to appear at Comic Cons. Of course, he does, associated with Doctor Who, and he never misses any opportunity to kind of trade on his association with it. He's more than happy to be an ex and current Doctor, and to kind of inherited Tom Baker's place, I think, for the nation as the definable Doctor Who. And that's all well and good. All of that is true. But David Tennant, as of May 2026, Charlotte, is not involved in this special, despite the claims of the press, the fan press, and any commentary. Your thoughts?
Like Gary beforehand, I had no idea what we're talking about in this section, folks. So my reactions are my own. I am incredibly surprised because I was one of those people that I sort of said in my head whenever we were speaking about this special, oh, Tennant will probably be there somewhere, because he seems to always come back. Like, it's sort of, that's the joke with Tennant right now with the brand. But like I said, I'm surprised, but this is a really good move if this happens, because I think people are fed up of him as a Doctor right now. He needs to be away from the role. People need a bit of distance to sort of learn almost what they loved about him in the part. And when he came back for the anniversary we just had, I'm gonna be honest, I thought that was in parts quite a weak performance of him. He had some really good moments, but then in other bits it felt like a washed out version of 10. And that was the mixture of the writing and David's acting for me. He just didn't seem to have a fire in his belly like he used to about this part. So if this is true, by the time we get to that transmission day, this is actually a really good move, I would argue.
The people I've heard from, the sources we've gone to over this, have said, Charlotte, I mean, they've all said the same thing. According to some, David Tennant has never been remotely involved in this, that he's always been simply this is a busy year for a really busy actor, and that whatever various plots and proposals that we've seen coming off Reddit, that he was never involved in the first place. Whereas some people have said that no, he really did want to do this and he'd be happy to do this. It's just simply not workable. So there is conflict there as to how David Tennant's non-involvement in the special has come about, but every source has confirmed to us that David Tennant is not involved in this special at all. Gary, you're heartbroken.
Well, yeah, I'm bereft, as I've said. I actually have two thoughts. The first is that I resonate with Charlotte that ultimately it's a good thing, because I think that it does too much damage to the show itself if to the overall forward moving narrative of the show, that every time the show kind of gets in trouble, they pivot back to David Tennant. After Jodie, how did they try to heal that by bringing David Tennant back again? What was all the early speculation every day for months now? How will they kind of distract everyone from, the train wreck of the Shudigawa era, pivot back to David Tennant? He was like the go-to guy to kind of, between kind of, to kind of help people get over like the bad spots in the show. But narratively, you can't, that really just stunts the show. You can't keep doing that. So on that aspect, I'm kind of glad it opens more doors if he's not there. On the other hand, assuming that whenever the show comes back after whatever period there's going to be. And it's not like in the form of a complete and total ground up reboot. The fact that the 14th Doctor is still out there is a colossal narrative hole that, if this is true, apparently will not be addressed or filled. It's like, I mean, a lot of the early speculation was they're going to bring back the 14th Doctor. He will merge with whoever, and out of that will come a single Doctor. Because now the fact that you have basically whatever the Rose is, and the 14th Doctor still out there, you know, mowing Donna's lawn, is a huge story hole that needs to be addressed.
Good, David.
No, seriously, you know, because it's like it was a very bad idea to keep two Doctors in play, because every time a crisis over the last 2 years, how many times has there been when we've covered, you know, some of the episodes of the last 2 seasons? How many times have we said, well, why doesn't Unit just call the Doctor? He's over with Donna. Donna works for Unit now. Why doesn't the 14th Doctor come in and help out with Sutek or Omega or whatever? And that's like that's the default thing when you create that kind of story problem and just put it out there unresolved. And I guess it's never going to be resolved now.
What are your thoughts, Luke? You grew up watching David Tennant. You love David Tennant's Doctor. Both of them, one of them, some of them. I'm sure you do, as I did, and still sort of begrudgingly do. I mean, is this a major loss if David Tennant doesn't lead this for the British public?
I think so, but you know, he is busy mowing Donna's lawn at the end of the day, so we got to cut him some slack here.
Lucky man.
Trimming a bush.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you for that. No, I think it generally is a bit of a miss. I think it's just that David Tennant is still a draw, and he is known to the Doctor Who fans that may be annoyed of him and fed up of him, but undoubtedly he is a draw. That's very funny. He is a draw to the general audience, and people know him as Doctor Who. And if you're going to tie up the loose end, pretty much just the bi-generation, I think you need to tie it up in a bow, send it off, and send it back in. And I think that is a bit of a misstep. And I do need to, because you got the 14th Doctor running around, so it's kind of
right.
Yeah. Also, does Donna just have like a work from home order from Unit? Because she's never there. So I want that explained as well, right?
Yeah.
She sends her granddaughter to do the work.
Oh, Lord.
She must be getting what? I know she got a lot of holiday annual leave, but yeah, I want the Christmas special to be Donna's work from home adventures. That's a spin-off I want, actually. Donna's working from home.
Just
undoubtedly. I think if he's not involved, I think it is a bit of a misstep, because he just would be a draw for the general public. And then you could tie up all the loose ends and kind of be like, right, okay, cool, then send it back in, and then leave whoever is taking over eventually, whenever that may be. Everything is very nice and neat, and they can just pick it up and do what they want with it, instead of having the shadow of a bio-generated Doctor living in Chiswick. And yes, it just seems to be leaving the show in a bit of a mess.
You know what? Maybe I just thought that they could do, David. They could have like a still photo of Tennant, like with a lawnmower, like mowing the lawn, and then just like in the 5 Doctors, one of the black triangles spins down, grabs him, takes him off, and then he's stuck in some kind of time eddy for the rest of the special.
Would it be a ride-on mower, or would it be a sort of like podcast?
Yes.
That's the most David Milling question that's ever been asked on this show, David.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts? Are you a big Tennant fan? You even like Good Omens by the sounds of it. I mean, what's your reaction to that?
Well, I'm not overly surprised, because this is a left field jump. I heard my friend at the Lincoln City Fan Zone 6 weeks ago tell me this, but then he spewed out a load more sort of conspiracy theory bollocks after it. So that sort of So with the problem is with some of this stuff is that you get the little nugget of truth, and then you get what I was going on about earlier on in this segment is that you then get the sort of like noise that surrounds it. So
if somebody taps you on the shoulder, David, and says, the football or the cricket, and says, hey, David Tennant's not in that Doctor Who special, but in their next breath they say, but Alex Jones is. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Alex Jones would be great.
Yeah, it's sort of like, she's Welsh. So that's
no,
why.
not Alex Jones off the one show. I'm talking about the crazy one with the beard who rants and raves.
Yeah. Oh, yes. But
Alex Jones. I like the other Alex Jones, the Welsh one. Yeah, she's really, I like her. I do like her a lot.
Another restraining order issued.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, I'm with Luke in the fact that it is rather annoying, and Gary and Charlotte, it's rather annoying that there's this TARDIS out there with another Doctor floating around on his Qualcast mower, with his pruning shears, not knowing and having that loose end up there, and that's a case of right, okay, so that just sticks out. It's ending a sentence on a comma. It's very frustrating, and then moving on to the next paragraph. But on the flip side, and I'm now going to try and accentuate the positive here. On the flip side, that is actually good for me, because now it means, right, what direction are we going to go in? Because we were all assuming that we were going to go into this love story and blah, 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 and Tennant and Rose and all this, that, and the other. And we were assuming that's where it was going to go. Now, if that's off the cards, then, you've piqued my interest. Because how are you going to get out of this? How are you going to get out of this and play fair? So that's really sort of intrigued me, that piece of news, because I'm now thinking, right, okay. So how are we going to get out of this? So that's made me quite excited, if that's the phrase to use, as to how it carries on and how we get out of this oh hello moment without David Tennant joining in. So it's actually quite interested me in that fact. Whether or not what we see as the resolution will be satisfying, again, that's very much down to people's subjective taste. But for me, it has sort of piqued my interest, because as I said before, I thought we were going down a certain road, and now if that road's closed off, I'm really interested as to where this could go.
It's certainly piqued the interest of a lot of people in the live chat as well. YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. People, some are reeling, some are gnashing, and everything in between. That leaves Jodie and Gatwa then, says Matthew Pounder. We all know where this is heading.
Paul McGann.
Nobody's mentioned McGann yet. Maybe David Tennant must film a secret cameo on a green screen, like Billy did, says Philip Roy. Hi, Phil. And AFK says, I wasn't convinced by the 14th Doctor in the specials. The characterization was a bit off. He works well with Catherine Tate's Donna as usual, but I preferred him as 10. Just you and everybody else there in the rest of the fandom. And Toonami says, obviously just Billy then, and then she will meet the new Doctor. So this has fired people's enthusiasm. They're joining the dots. They're deciding how things are going to go, where they could go. Are you ready for part 2?
Oh yes.
Wow.
So very quickly, I've just heard David Tennant has been cast as the new Doctor.
Did he come with a freak lawnmower? Is he the lawnmower man?
But David Tennant is not in it.
And Luke.
David Tennant is.
Luke, and this version happens to have a Scottish accent.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've
And
sussed it all.
It's a lawnmower freak. He's got a collection of lawnmowers in a shed.
You heard it here first, everybody. You heard it here first. Let's move on, because people obviously are still excited and working things through. A lot of people assume Tennant was going to be in this, and he's played into that on not his social medias. He doesn't do them officially, but certainly Georgia Tennant, she has played into it on her social medias. Let's talk about Billie Piper. One-time moment and long-time Rose Tyler archetypal companion, certainly. 21 years now, we're sort of celebrating her era in real time, still on the BBC's social medias right now. This was a legendary character and an actress who's gone on from strength to strength ever since. Realistically, when she last appeared. So when she last appeared almost a year ago now, at the end of the reality war that was, it took the wind out of a lot of sales. Even those of us who'd heard about it in advance, it was still quite a shocker. And I think we've spent time in between sort of coming down from that and not making excuses for it at all, but trying to forget it, if anything. But I feel for Billie, because she spent a lot of the 12 months in between fielding questions on that scene and the future of Doctor Who and her involvement in it with patience and understanding and commitment, an unreasonable level of commitment, I think, particularly in light of the fact that Billie Piper is out of this special. This is possibly the biggest shock development that has been confided to us at Type 40. Billie Piper is simply not available to film any involvement in the Christmas special after all, as was planned, as was assumed. Now, filming of the special was due to happen earlier in the year. We know that for a fact. It was due to film in March and April. And as far as we know, Piper was perhaps involved at that point. Why that phase of production fell through, I can't say. But the remount for later in the year, which I'm being told is still expected to happen sometime in the summer, so there's conflicting reports on this. It could be July, it could be August. But as of right now, Billie Piper will not be involved. Billie Piper is out. She's very, very busy woman. She's filming at the moment as the new season regular on the Netflix series Wednesday. Now, I don't watch this. I've heard nothing but great things about this genre show. She plays this brand new character, Isadora Capri, which to me sounds like a drink. It sounds like some sort of alcopop. And she's committed to this. Full cast member, season regular. And filming on Wednesday, season 3 is so it takes between 8 and 9 months.
Yeah.
So my researchers told me it didn't begin filming until late February, and it continues mostly in Ireland. That's where they make this, potentially all the way through until October. Now, on top of this, she's also committed to a film this year too. So she's in a film called Elsinore, where Billie stars alongside the actor Andrew Scott from Sherlock and Olivia Colman too.
Oh, wow.
And this also films in 2026. Then there's a short film that she's involved with called Still They Pray, which is entering production right now. Obviously, this isn't something that I think any of us expected to hear. It wasn't unreasonable, I think, for us to assume, well, given this, that they must have, could have, should have secured Billie Piper's involvement for a window of time ahead of time. You would think, and she loves Doctor Who. She's still connected with Doctor Who. She still performs on audio with Chris Eccleston in particular recently, and is seen with David Tennant too, all over the world, not least of all on that special Unleashed show last year. But Billie Piper's top commitment, her number one role, is to continue being Billie Piper, a very successful and in-demand actress appearing now in global dramas. She can't do it. She's out. Your thoughts? Let's go to Luke first.
So why are they not shooting the Christmas special now then? If your two lead actors are not there, then surely they could have just been like, oh well, we can crack on and shoot it then. Like it's, I don't know, seems a bit of a stupid. I don't know if I believe that one personally. I don't know. That seems a bit pie in the sky. Unless we get in a circuit breaker fugitive Doctor Christmas special.
See,
then,
that's what
yeah.
I'm honestly. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's
Yeah,
the
maybe.
special will be an hour-long wrap-up to Circuit Breaker.
Potentially, yeah. But I don't know. That one seems a bit. She might come in and just do like 5 minutes. Surely, I don't know. I think you can live without Tennant, without Piper. I don't think you can feasibly.
Paul McGann.
Don't mention Paul McGann. He's Paul McGann. No, I don't know. This one seems a bit. Yeah, this one
I
seems
felt
a
the
bit
same.
out of it.
But Dan, with that,
My mate at Lincoln City said this as well.
But honestly, with that list of productions that you just went through, I mean, that is, I mean, I don't even know how, like, for the rest of the year she films all of those, Dan,
Yeah.
much less a Christmas special, because that is a massively time-consuming list that you just went through.
And here's the other thing, like they need to have the time to film and do post-production. So it's not like if they film it, oh, we're fine. You still got all that other work, especially with effects. Doctor Who uses special effects. It uses lots of other things which you need to have time to do. You cannot rush it. So
Time of the Doctor was filmed in September and released at Christmas, so that's you can kind of give it like a little bit there. So there's a little bit.
But the problem is, Luke, the more they're waiting around for Billy, I get
and Time of the Doctor was awful.
Yeah,
because only a couple of weeks ago, we did talk about this in a very rounded way. I think all of us accepted that there is theoretically plenty of time to film something between now and October. Probably would be the cutoff point. But on the other hand, it's quite likely they have got an established block of some sort, Charlotte, you're quite right, whereby their own resources, their own finances, their other commitments to other productions, because Bad Wolf in particular has several plates spinning at any given time, doesn't it?
Well, they've just done The Other Bennett Girl, which was brilliant. So they are still producing other shows. And off that list, pretty much the maths I was doing while you were saying all those production Billy is a part of, she won't be able to film anything like a block of anything for the rest of the year, just off the amount of stuff she's clearly busy. Yeah. And that's the main thing. I agree. The Tennant thing's annoying if they don't wrap up the 14th Doctor, but we've had stuff like that before that's sort of just been left and never revisited again. Having Ncuti with bad effects turn into Billy Piper, that's not a little thing you can just forget. Yeah. You need to resolve that. And the thing is, they've not announced another date for this special yet. It's not like they've said, okay, maybe it's delayed. We have still been told, if we're to go off BBC Press, this is coming out Christmas this year. So I don't see how they're going to get around this, honestly.
I mean, you said that people won't forget that finale, but not that many people watched the thing, did they? I think we forget just over 2 million people watched the Reality War broadcast. The consolidated figure did have a bump up to 3.2.
Oh, I agree.
A great many people involved could have blocked it out after a process, a course of therapy of some kind. I think that's quite likely too.
I agree what you mean if you look at the cold, hard facts, but it's the repercussions afterwards I'm talking about. It's the fact that even if people didn't watch that finale, they saw that image of Billy Piper's face. It was everywhere as a joke. People were just saying, this is the state Doctor Who has now become. It was like this sort of symbol. We said that at the time, it will become this sort of infamous image, and it has. So the repercussions, this needs to get fixed. And that's what I've been saying for months now. The one thing they need to do is resolve this, because no other writer can pick up and do a script with Billy being ... is she a doctor or isn't she? Just physically, our new showrunner can't come in until that's fixed.
Well, okay, just randomly speculating, they could do two things. One, obviously, if they show that scene again, Charlotte, then just do some CGI jiggery pokery where then she immediately fades and transforms into
That's what I
somebody
was going to
else.
suggest. Yeah.
You know, if they want to keep this. I mean, they could use those two Saturday Night Live actors, bring them in for an actual show, let them film as the Doctor, and turn that into an actual hour-long Christmas special.
Buddy.
Do that. I think
Lots
also,
of knob
when you think
gags.
about Christmas, you think, what is the iconography of Christmas? And one of the iconography of Christmas is obviously mistletoe. So obviously you could bring Jodie and Yaz back, and then the episode ends with a big, tongue kiss under the mistletoe from the two of them.
Oh, nice.
That would be a Merry Christmas, everybody. That would be a way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
I suppose it would be. So, yeah, your associates on the cricket pavilion also
On the football fan zone.
Football, yeah.
Was it football
You have
that
to talk
time,
about
right?
Lincoln.
I get them.
Yeah.
I do get them mixed up. I get my wires crossed with all. So, David, you don't sound that surprised. I have to say, of everybody, you don't sound very surprised at all.
No, because it's not the first time I've heard it. Although I was very questioning of it the first time I did hear it. Now I've heard it from your sources. I can actually believe that this is happening, or more likely to happen than not. In a way, if you forgive the tangent, it's the end of season C, Blake 7 Terminal, whereby Bill Cotton type situation saw what was meant to be the final episode of Blake 7 go out, rang up the presentation department and said to the announcer, "You've got to, over the closing credits, announce that Blake 7 will be back next year," without realizing that the series didn't have a producer because David Maloney was leaving. None of the cast had been tapped up to see if they were actually free for another year, and of which some weren't. So they had to completely redesign the show for a final season. So it's a case of getting all your ducks in a row before you actually announce something. And if the ducks weren't all in a row and you've announced it and you've got this ticking time bomb with respect to when you have to schedule it, you've then got, oh god, right, they're not available, oh crikey, right, can we get a shot of David Tennant on a ride-on mower? Will that do? What's Paul McGann?
I'd watch that.
I'd watch that too. Could we get is Paul McGann free? What's that nice Peter Davison up to? But in all seriousness, Gary's actually spot on. The best way to get out of that is to have her face dissolve into another face. That's really easy to get out of it. The question as to why her face appeared, hey, that'll just have to be explained away in a line of exposition. But where we go with respect to this, I'm not up for the full-on kiss under the mistletoe. I have to say, because
he was putting up
his sordid fantasies in his head, but so that's one for Type 40 After Hours. But I think that it's probably not as disastrous as we can all expect. And to be honest, it again intrigues me as to get out of that and play fair, because to be fair about the David Tennant thing, he really is the Sam Allardyce of Doctor Who. It's a case of he keeps coming in whenever the show's in trouble, and don't worry, Big Sam will save us, Big David will save us, he'll get us out of grief, he'll do this, and then he ends up not getting us out of grief.
I know a girl called Big Sam. I won't tell you what she's called Big Sam. The thing about Tennant and Piper is they are Doctor Who icons together and apart. They are Doctor Who icons. But we are blessed with many Doctor Who icons, some of whom are walking and talking and sentient human beings. Others are simply the props, things that sort of moved around the various sets, things that are identifiably Doctor Who to the general public. That's the good news. There's toys in the toy box, potentially for anybody who's creative or really, really desperate, right, Russell, to bring out of the box and to bring something together, in all fairness, that could be fun and recognizable and inventive and creative and maybe even memorable. And I'd be all for that, to tell you the truth. But of course, at this precise time, when the shit, the shit hit the fan a long, long time ago, we're now at the point where it's being sort of picked out from those little smoky bits. And don't turn it back on, because there'll be more sprayage and it's going to get nasty. But if you're going to lose 2 actors and maybe the whole sort of premise that you were originally going to be hinging things on for a continuation, where do you go, I suppose? Which brings me to the next component part.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, there's more. I mean, obviously, because some people are watching and waiting for Christmas Day. It's a thing. It's a Christmas Day tradition. You sit and you watch Doctor Who with your family. Ideally, if you trust it, and more often than not, it delivers a certain brand of entry-level sci-fi and fantasy programming, I suppose. The Christmas specials usually do quite well. God, even that last one, that terrible one in the Time Hotel, even that did, relatively speaking, quite well. So there is a captive audience who are usually too drunk or in a food coma to move, at the very least. So that's the good news. But of course, there's got to be something for them to watch, hasn't there? And before you can get something filmed for them to watch, you have to have your script. Don't you have to have your shooting script? Doctor Who needs a script, doesn't it? When we last heard, though, how can I put this? The uninvolvement of at least one, possibly 2, of the actors we've spoken about already means that right now there's not even a script for this special. He's building it back up totally from scratch. The concept, the structure as was, is believed to be unusable. No stars, no script, but still a special. Charlotte?
This sounds, I feel like it's funny that you mentioned the 50th at the top of the show, because I'm getting Moffat flashbacks to when he talked about how he at one point literally only had Jenna on, like, he knew he had her, like, he
under contract, yeah.
Under contract.
I have got a picture of that, of Russell's last draft of the script. Here it is. There, that's what's current.
Yeah. So
on throw lawnmower.
Yeah, no. The more you hear, the more you tell us, Dan. Obviously, we will see this is source. We take it with a grain of salt, as we always say with these things.
Things change.
And things can change. And I think right now it feels like that's very likely, that everything is sort of resting on other factors that will, like a domino effect, will impact the next thing and then the next thing. And it's sort of so fragile. That's the vibe I'm getting off all these things. So if Russell is potentially having to completely come up with a new idea that can't follow on to the massive cliffhanger he's set up himself, I've got a feeling this could go 2 ways. Maybe, and here's the positive, I'll start with the positive and then I'll end with the not so positive, because then I do need to go. The positive is that because he hasn't got all that baggage, which he has created himself, but his own plot, like, baggage and the things he left and he couldn't fix, and all of that stuff of why did that happen? Okay, I need to explain it. It might help him just have more of a pure idea. And with it being a one sort of shot of his one bit of script, his 1 hour of TV, however long it's going to be, that I need to write, having those limitations again, having actually not having all the money in the world and all the resources and everything at his fingertips again, might actually force him to be better with his writing. Because we've all said this, what I should say, we've all said one of the issues of Russell's current run, he had nobody telling him no. He had nobody saying, we think that, Russell, or maybe do this. It was all his do what you want. So it sounds like it's a very different situation right now. So that might
you could say, Charlotte, though, given the fact of what we've walked through to get here, that perhaps this was to be expected, that things haven't gone according to plan, and therefore something would need to alter fundamentally. And to give Russell T Davies his due, he is somebody who famously works very, very quickly. I think sometimes that has been a boon to the show, and other times that's shown itself and not stood up to any kind of scrutiny.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, what I've just said could be the positive outcome of all these clearly strained circumstances, having actors that he needed now he doesn't possibly, having a script that's had to be rewritten. The other side of that is that in those circumstances, it really shows off whether you're a brilliant writer or you are a terrible writer, because you're having to completely rest on your laurels. And off what Russell has just given us for 2 series, I think we can all argue he's not the Russell he was in 2005. The quality of those scripts, the character writing, which is usually before one of his strengths, drastically went down in quality. His ideas, he seems to have lost the spirit of the show and and who the Doctor is. And how do you engage that adventure spirit again seems to have left Russell. So all of those makes me sort of go, or this could be all the mess we saw of Sutek. We were having to believe all at once that Sutek's always been on top of the TARDIS, out of nowhere. We're having to sort of be teased with Susan for 2 series and then have nothing. So I think this could go, just to finish, I think this could either be even worse than anything Russell's done, which is defeat, or maybe the circumstances in the last hour, like the 11th hour sort of situation, might be a positive. We will see.
Is Caroline Ford free?
But I do.
Serious prospect. I'd probably bike her in, get her on one of those bikes that they ride when they deliver your takeaway. The the lads, you see them on the electric.
No,
bike
the
shop.
Segway.
Just
The
Eat.
Segway.
Yeah, the Just Eat bikes, Deliveroo guys. Yeah, pop her on the back of one of those, whip her down to Bad Wolf. Bob's your uncle, or Susan's your grandmother, and your niece, or is it daughter or auntie at the same time? I can't quite remember. Charlotte, a lot to mull over, a lot to sleep on. Thank you.
Yes. And
take
a
care,
lot of
lovely.
stuff I didn't think we would be talking about tonight, if I'm being honest.
There's more as well for another time.
I will have to, tomorrow I will watch the rest to see what else you lot say. And thank you, chat and everybody, for a really good discussion as always.
Good night, Charlotte. Good night.
Take care. Take care.
I actually, okay, so I've been in the back of my mind mulling, like, so what do you do at this point? And this is now like the Dr. Lightest of all Dr. Light episodes ever in the history of everything. And I don't know. I'm very disheartened by the fact that I thought that Russell had already done several scripts. So I mean, the fact that he would mislead us actually has disillusioned me no end. But I'm thinking, okay, what's the simplest solution? I've already kind of gave part of that. With you get rid of the Billy thing just by having CGI blood. And then honestly, I think the most straightforward thing, well, there's 2. One is you resolve the whole thing, you make the Christmas special a 4-minute skit on children in need, and you wrap it up there and have that be the end of it. If you do have the Christmas special, I think probably the most straightforward thing is you default to a unit episode. You start with the Billy thing, you have her then thing again, then you smash cut, make it a unit thing against the Daleks or whoever, and then at the last scene of the show, have the TARDIS appearing in unit headquarters or whatever. And they all go, what's TARDIS doing here? And they open the door and they see a figure regenerating in the middle of regenerating. And then you cut from that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Get Mel there. Get Bonnie. She would be great. She would be the connector. She would be the Doctor Who connector. She would actually be, that would be perfect. Have her as the Doctor Who connector between the old and the new. And then she could be the kind of companion-driven, get her, Donna, whoever, make it a kind of companion of. They've kind of done it before, because Tennant spent most of his first episode in his pajamas regenerating, while Rose and Mickey and everybody drove that story. You just kind of do that here with Mel, Donna, kind of whoever. And maybe get like Janet Fielding in or Ace or whoever. And then at the end, the TARDIS will appear. They will all kind of be at the door. They will see a figure regenerating. So you avoid that completely. And then you just go, the Doctor will return. Boom. I mean, if you got, no, I'm not really kidding. I don't know. I think that may be a valid idea to kind of get yourself out of
it could
this
be worse.
desperation.
We could have had Shooty back. We could have had Shooty. It's not unreasonable to assume, given the fact of how Russell works, Luke, if there was no script, there was a point where there was no script in the fairly recent past, there's not going to be no script for long. I think that's it. I've got to be fair in my sort of delivery of this. And some writers work quicker than others, but Russell is famous for working quickly, isn't he?
Yes, he is. But again, we've had what's his name? Composer Murray Gold. Murray Gold came out recently.
Murray Gold, yeah.
And has already said there's multiple versions of the script for XYZ reasons. So surely this this seems a bit of a weird one to be like, oh, there's no script when we've already had the composer be like, oh well, no, there's multiple scripts. So this one seems a bit
of a script.
Well, he said there was multiple, so surely they would have
multiple. I still think that
we talked about that before. I mean, David's reading of that there could have been one actual script, but several drafts of the same script was your.
No, if it was multiple scripts, it'd be multiple. It'd be like, right, okay, this is version 1 with both. This is version 1 with Billy. This is version 2 with Tennant. This is version 3 with Matt Smith. This is version 4 with Donna Noble's Lawnmower. Like it would have. Yeah. They would have.
McGann.
Oh God, not Paul McGann.
If you use the lawnmower idea, you could just call the episode "The Green Grass of Gallifrey."
I'm so in. Gary is the new showrunner of Doctor Who.
Yeah,
thank you.
How does your garden grow? Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. The green grass of Gallifrey sounds like such a cool.
Who does your garden grow?
You have him mowing the lawn, and then you have like a crinoid pop up in her lawn because it's like a plant thing. There you go.
It'll be called "Who Does Your Garden Grow?" So there you go.
The plot, the story, therefore the script, the screenplay, whatever you want to call it. This has probably been the source of most speculation in recent months, probably the full 12 months. We talked about it a little earlier on, pointed at various different examples. Most of them tend to emanate from Reddit. Usually 2 or 3 people, but then there's other people that enter into the fray as well and offer their ideas of what could be happening, their assurances that their versions that they've heard are absolutely true. And there was one that was just last week, of course, that somebody asked us in the live chat there on YouTube a little while ago, which was clearly total and utter bollocks. And this one was the same. According to this poster on Reddit, Tennant was confirmed to lead the special, which would be titled "The Ghosts of Bi-Regeneration Past." What, Gary? You're laughing already. Did anybody think this sounded like absolutely?
That would cause me to absolutely, recovering from my Christmas dinner, sit down for that.
I thought this
Food
would lighten the
poisoning
mood
territory.
somehow. This poster on Reddit assured us that filming was to take place in the summer, and the episode, the plot expands on the bi-regeneration concept that everybody fucking hates, using AI technology to bring together every past incarnation of the Doctor, which people would also hate probably even more, suggesting a Doctorverse. If people don't like the Whoniverse, they're going to loathe the Doctorverse, aren't they? And the concept that it's been created where timelines are violently converging and Tennant's Doctor must lead the effort to fix the fractured pocket of time. I mean, this sounds, you know what, I could, after what he did to Sutek and then to Omega, I could have sort of seen that Russell may try something like that plot-wise, but the fact that it's labelled with that title and all of this stuff, of course, convinces us that this is more examples of total and utter bollocks. But this goes on year in year out with Doctor Who. This happens when the series is in clover, never mind when things are bleak.
One thing, actually, Dan, I'm really curious about, because I don't think that you've said it yet. What was your own personal reaction when you saw this news or the confirmation of the rumor that Billy herself wasn't going to be in it? I mean, what was your thoughts?
My reaction was similar to Luke's initially, in that I thought, come on, how's that gonna? Surely not. Surely, but surely there'll be this, there'll be that, and they'll have done X, Y, or Z. And then I remembered the same production team that hired a man to play Doctor Who, hired him, contracted him when they'd got a start date for the show, even though he wasn't free for another 4 or 5 months. Okay. I thought, you know what? Fair enough. I believe absolutely everything of this production team at this time. I think that they had no idea what they were biting off before they'd even considered whether they could chew anything on the scale that they were speaking of on that global stage. And is this the kind of mistake that they would have made 20 years ago? No. Is it the kind of cock-up that they would be responsible for now? Error of judgment and mismanagement of simple lackadaisiness. On the evidence that we've seen recently, yeah, they would. I don't know how they can continue to make shows that do well. The series that Charlotte mentioned, The Other Bennett Sister, very popular show. Again, not particularly on the surface, not my cup of tea, even though Rhoda Sato is in it. This isn't my kind of thing, but it's evidently found its target audience, therefore it is a success. Bad Wolf's other shows have all found their target audience and been successful. Right, Luke? So why this? Why have they fumbled Doctor Who so badly? Maybe we'll never know that. But they clearly can't manage it for whatever reason. Maybe it's performance anxiety. I don't know. So initially my reaction was very similar to Luke's. But eventually you speak to enough people, you join enough dots, and things line up. You think, well, however unlikely, however undesirable this outcome may seem, all the arrows are pointing to it being the truth.
Yeah.
It's that, again,
but now
it's that haphazardness of not getting all your ducks in a row. And one wonders if the announcement that it was going to return for 2026. Luke, Dan, please close me down or talk over me if you want. One wonders if an announcement for the 2026 special may have been a little bit of a surprise for Bad Wolf. I don't know, and maybe it caught them unawares, and they thought, well, we didn't expect this sort of thing. I don't know. Is that a possibility? I know, because you both got contacts.
I think it is. And of course, Russell's got his own obligations as well. As I understand it, they've only just finished filming on Tiptoe. Obviously, that's the post-production on a series like that. Luke, it's not going to be anywhere near as intensive as Doctor Who. And Russell might not have been there the whole time, but apparently he does like to be on set when these things are being made, when and if he can, for whatever reason, to work with the actors and to do rewrites on the spot, as I understand. this still would have taken up a big chunk of time, wouldn't it? And so there are other things pulling every component part in several directions, I would think.
Tiptoe finished December filming, from what I remember. So if Tiptoe finished ages ago, So yeah, because I mean the trailers are already out now on Channel 4 and stuff. They're getting ready for release. So yeah, I don't think the BBC would be as careless to let. I mean, Bad Wolf would have been in the conversation because they're the ones producing it, so they wouldn't have caught them by surprise. And I don't think the BBC would be as fallible as to announce a Christmas special coming in 2026 and not have any contracted stars. Albeit they've done it with the 50th anniversary. I digress, but I never speak like this. What the fuck? I don't know. Maybe they have. It just seems a bit careless.
There's an old expression.
Would be
I have an expression, Luke, and as I get older, I find it really frustrating that most of the oldest expressions tend to be the ones that hold the most truth. Too many cooks spoil the broth. There's still 3 co-producers involved in this. Maybe that's just too many. It may be fine for other shows globally and even domestically, but for whatever reason, Doctor Who strains under the weight of the pressures of this kind of arrangement. I can't speak as to why.
I have a question, and this is a serious question. It's not just born out of a chance for me to kind of throw shade at Russell. It really is not. So, okay, going with your news that Tennant's out and Billy's out, and there's no script. Why are they still tied to having Russell be the writer? Because as far as we've been talking about for however long, the reason he was coming back, the BBC wanted him to basically, colloquially fix his own mess, clean up his own mess, and wrap things up and get things to the point where whatever the future of the show, they can hand it off clean. But if Tennant is not there, which means they can't resolve the 14th Doctor thing. Billy's out, so they can't resolve the last scene. So why the necessity then to have only Russell come in? Because the whole cleaning up his own mess is off the table now.
I think we could track it back to the Edinburgh TV Festival at the least. I think that appearances mean a lot to a great many of the people involved in something like this, and saving of face. Lindsay Salt, the director of drama for the BBC, said this at the Edinburgh TV Festival last year, and again reiterated it in the press release that went along with the announcement. We can assure fans the Doctor is not going anywhere, and we will be announcing plans for the next series in due course, which will ensure the TARDIS remains at the heart of the BBC. She said, and we are delighted that Russell T Davies has agreed to write us another spectacular Christmas special for 2026. So Russell's been bolted into this. I mean, none of us have spoken to him, obviously. I don't know what's on his mind. He may have been persuaded to write this in the way that other past producers, showrunners, I suppose you could say, were persuaded to stay. I don't know. You could speculate on this from now until whenever, but I think this is why. I think that they don't know who else to go to in this shorter period of time. And despite the massive failure of all new Doctor Who, they still think the sun shines out of this bloke's arse.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that makes sense, I guess.
It starts in a lawnmower factory in sort of Dunstable. Cut to the sort of ride-on mowers.
I'd rather
taken over by AI.
I'd rather have Moffat. I'd rather have Moffat take a swing at this.
That's how it starts with the.
I've never heard Gary so defeated in my life. Then that was
I'm not defeated. This is great. I mean,
don't
it's
be downhearted, Gary. Don't be downhearted. We have quotes from Russell T Davies. We've got a recent quote here from Russell T Davies. Now, this could be something, could be nothing. I don't want to sort of see patterns of things that aren't there and attribute a hidden meaning underneath. But in the latest edition of Doctor Who magazine, in an article talking about the excitement of the return of 2 previously missing episodes, Russell did say this towards the end of his piece. Wouldn't it be great? Because they talk about the 60s and how the viewers at the time had no idea what would be happening next week or oftentimes next month, that it was the immediate future was often shrouded in mystery, never mind 5 or 6 months into the future. So Russell put out the idea here, wouldn't it be great if we got to this year's Doctor Who Christmas special and nothing had been spoiled and everything was new? Why do we do it any other way? Well, there's nothing going on to spoil right now, is there?
Right.
So is this as innocent as we could read it, or was this Russell again softly taking us, the reader, the dedicated Doctor Who reader, who is this kind of the backbone of the fandom at least, be taking them from one place to another and kind of gently saying, look, what you thought you knew, what very little you knew about the special, that might not be the case, and it may not be a bad thing either. I mean, that's obviously, I don't know this. This is just going back to this quote in light of the information that we've received here at Type 40. I'm starting to wonder if this is a Russell-ism, if this isn't him being cryptic, being clever, and being a smart ass. I mean,
Dan, didn't he say from almost literally the day after the Reality Ward aired, didn't he say, hasn't he been saying something along the lines of, no, I know exactly what's going to be happening in the
Yes. Well,
the script may not be written, but I know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, he said that on more than one
occasion. But there was an industry do, and he was cornered on the red carpet by somebody, and they really were quite forceful. To be fair to Russell, they did put him on the spot, and they said, have you written it? Do you know what happens? And he said, I've always known what's going to happen in that special. I've always known. And we've got the exact quote somewhere. And that's. Again, some writers do work like that. I think Russell probably could work like that. He's a very instinctive writer. He could keep it in his head. So I've never doubted that. And the script may be out, but the shape of the story may still remain the same for all we know. Again, as I've said several times, fortunately, that's his problem and not any of ours. But I do wonder whether I should take this at face value or not, David, because it's just a printed word. Obviously, I've read this and tried to sort of bring it to life a little, but there could be other more subdued readings than mine. It's perfectly reasonable, perfectly possible.
It is a very cryptic statement that you could read into whatever you wanted to. Again, it's a subjective sort of view. It could mean that I'm not telling you what I'm writing about, and because I don't want to spoil it, or it could be I have no idea what I'm writing. I have nothing's going on. It could mean so many different things. So again, it's one of those fabulous things that politicians, football managers, corporate executives do. It's saying something without really saying anything at all. So it's a very, very good sort of like thing to say when people want to tell you something, but they don't actually want to tell you anything.
You say it best
when you say nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no!
Oh, Luke, I've been missing your singing.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, David, what would you think about David about if they did the Christmas special and they kind of did like a callback to like Legopolis, but instead of the Doctor regenerating after he falls off the radio tower, he actually just like falls off the lawnmower, and that causes him to regenerate.
Yeah, I think Invasion of the Killer Lawnmowers is a real goer, and I copy it. Russell, if you're watching, mate, lawnmower factory in Dunstable, ride-on lawnmowers infiltrated by an evil alien presence that causes sort of like the Doctor to glitch through time and space through various different companion faces until it's revealed that the Daleks are behind it all through Dalek duplicate lawnmowers that you can ride on, because obviously they're travel machines. So mutants have got into the lawnmowers and they're actually sort of like causing this whole sort of lawnmower invasion, especially around Chiswick. And then
I think that David,
we
I think
get-
you've lost it.
and then eventually it's fixed by the Doctor settling on one form or another of Ross
Beloddy.
Kemp.
Yes.
Ross Kemp in his leather jacket. Going,
They could
"Ooh,
call it. They
leave
could call it the Green Death too.
Yeah, leave it out, Phil. Leave it out. Leave it out.
I'm going
Death
to
too.
look to the live chat here on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X to bail us out of this one. Let's see what they've got to say in the comments section about everything that we've hit them with so far.
Ah, perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time today. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. The Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
Yes, this is Type 40 Live. We're on your screen, even if Doctor Who itself isn't. Thank you, everybody. I don't know what you've got to say. Let's find out. Let's see where all this is sitting with you guys. AF says the show needs a 5-year break. We hear this all the time. And Zach Whitten says, so it took the BBC 5 months to decide to kick the ball down the road with Doctor Who and have a Christmas special more than a year later. Yes, it did. Toon Army blames Disney for the awful stuff we've had for the last 2 series. Some people enjoyed it to one degree or another. I personally don't actually blame Disney in this at all. I'm not Disney's biggest fan, but to be honest, I think that I'd have probably made a lot of the same calls that Disney have after the delivery of the material. Yeah, I blame them for the silly sonic screwdriver that Shooty Gatwa was holding and various other decisions which apparently they intervened with. But in this instance, I think Disney, they're probably close to an innocent party. Domgo says here in the live chat, what I can't understand is if this is all over, including Russell T Davies, why bother with this? As I told you, they've got unending faith in the man. He remains one of the most powerful people in British entertainment and one of the most decorated writers in recent decades, and with good reason, to be fair. But you know my feeling on Russell T Davies. It's the end. The moment hasn't been prepared for. He's out. He's out creatively. He's out ideologically. And the sooner he leaves Doctor Who behind, the better. That goes without saying. Is the special only going to be an hour? Asks Bill Silver. Now that, again, I've not heard a single word about that. I've sort of assumed so, Luke, because that tends to be, particularly if one assumes it's on Christmas Day, then you would think an hour and 10 minutes at the very, very most, because then you're creeping up to feature-length territory, aren't you?
I mean, at this point, I'd say 10 minutes. If you've got no doctors, no script.
Peter Purvis on a ride-on lawnmower. There you go. I've got it for
Peter
you.
Purvis is having a career renaissance right now, so just put him on screen. At this point, it might just be the Children Need Christmas special, as what Gary said. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, get the Saturday Night Live people back. I couldn't care less about the conclusion to this fake Who, says Farsight. Very, very black-pilled. Tennant won't be in it, says Bill Silver, reeling with disappointment.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Maybe they're thinking no one will remember, says Stephen Braddock. I think that's genuinely, look, it's a strategy. It's a strategy, one not unfounded in reality either. And I suppose when you've just had an episode which played with reality, they can say, oh yeah, but that was all mumbo jumbo, that was all this and that, and folds and creases in time and space. And people will go, particularly on Christmas Day, theoretically, they'll go, oh, it's Doctor Who. So that's what it's like. It's a silly show. And it's a shame that the show has got to that state that a lot of people do view it as that silly geeky show. But that is where we are. We are where we are. Farsight says
where we are.
Davies has created another. That's what he is best at, making a mess, it would seem. But David Mullen says, but surely when the BBC and Davies agreed to this special, they would have scouted the availability of the actors and locked them in. Not a perfectly reasonable point, David. And that's, again, my reaction was, like Luke, no. And then you think back, you think, oh God, they would, wouldn't they? They would absolutely do that. Yeah, they would. They would, Davids. I'm afraid they would. People are
I agree with
celebrating
David Mullen.
to some degree.
I thought you were David Mullen.
No, I just spell it differently. We are two individual people.
All right, okay. I was just checking.
David's one cup. A new Toonami says a new series. Did I really just say that, Gary? Why do I say these things? Okay,
that's our last big piece of news. That this is actually David Mullen right there sitting there.
Yeah. I'm two people in one body. So,
By generated.
Yeah.
I do have more to deliver as well, which is going to have to wait for another time.
Oh, you still tease.
There is more that bolts onto this, that's connected to this, which is something I found out more recently, which we'll keep for another time when we pick up this discussion and we deliver more truth bombs. So that's coming up next on Type 40 Live. But in the meantime, I want to feast on these fabulous comments and observations from our live chat. Toonami says a new series would have started filming already with the Christmas special if Billy Piper wasn't in it. The BBC would have had their ducks in a row. I think that's
I like to think they would.
But the BBC that are ready to make another series, and they're evidently not. I think they're speaking a very good game. Those press releases are nicely crafted, but every word counts. Every word is doing some amount of lifting. That's how these things work in PR, in marketing, and in media. Trust me, that's how it works, to give a certain impression. And just as we said earlier on, that is fine. They are the people who make the show, not us. That is fine. But I think it's also not unreasonable for a year on from the last episode for us to start asking these questions and for people to talk between themselves, whether it's confiding to us at Type 40 or to David there at the sporting engagement. People talk.
I tell you, Lincoln City fan zone.
Right the way back to the Jodie Whittaker era. You know, a lot of people were coming and talking to us about the Jodie Whittaker production, people who were working on the show. We broke several exclusives here right the way back from 2020 onwards here, because people who are unhappy or confused or disenfranchised or redundant because they may have been contracted and now aren't, you know, sometimes they feel a certain kind of way about that. And I can understand. I can understand that. I am your servant assumes that no one cared. I think people will always care about Doctor Who, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even though I said earlier, I don't care. Evidently I do.
We knew what you meant.
So I'm quite contrarian now because
I think what you did you mean that probably that you're more relaxed about it rather than
I don't know. Now I'm more intrigued than anything.
Yeah,
because I assumed Tennant and Billy Piper would be in it, and now there's nothing. So I guess we're getting Blink 2 with Carey Mulligan. I don't know.
I think they should honestly, I think they should hand it over to Luke to make the Christmas special and just call it I Made the Christmas Special.
Paul McGann is free. Get Paul McGann.
You've given him an idea now.
There you go.
Paul is a subscriber. Paul, are you free? What are you doing in July, mate?
Yeah.
Don't get in touch with us. Contact Mr. Russell T. Davis.
Yeah, we've got this idea for you. It involves a ride-on mower.
That's right. Yes.
Charlotte had the right idea, didn't she?
Why would he turn that down? Rose Kirby says, "Oh no! I've just thought there will be no Christmas special. It's been 344 days." And she's counting down by the day. Rose Kirby in the live chat. Again, we're not saying there won't be a Christmas special. We have, I do have, oh my God, there is more. It's too late in the day to go into all of that.
I don't think it is.
More. If you remember, Billy was in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Morph Billy's face into someone else and fill it
there you go.
full of Daleks.
Yes.
Fill a face full of Daleks. That's
that work.
And there's Stephen's quirk for the day.
Sounds like a cheese green of some sorts. Oh, who mentioned Big Sam?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
People have taken that bait in the live chat. We've got the football people in the live chat too. Fans of John Hurt as well are lamenting the loss of the War Doctor. Even he's succeeded now, of course, on Big Finish by Jonathan Carley. But John Hurt's original performance there. It's something, we look back to 2013 and he did such a lot with about 15 minutes of screen time. Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, and again, things like this that sound awful at a moment in time, because a lot of people weren't on board for that at all. It ended up being inspired. But of course, Stephen Moffat was involved then, and I think he's a better writer. I think he's a more resourceful writer than Russell T Davies, I have to say.
John Hurt John Hurt for me took that special to a different level with his performance. It was amazing.
What?
I mean, John Carley's even better. So
Get Jonathan and he'll sort it out. He'd sort it out in like 10 minutes flat, wouldn't he? Do a mind robber, says Matthew Pounder, and recast them. So put all their faces up on a two before, cut them into pieces like on an old game show, get to move them around with a ticking clock, do the old Paul Daniels thing, every second counts, all that.
There you go.
And then you've got your kind of your sense of jeopardy, it'd be like Chris Chibnall's back, wouldn't it? What could go wrong?
Well, I'm an idea factory for Russell T Davies, which I don't want to be, but I've already given him the great idea for the unit thing, which I actually think would work.
Doctor Who and the Idea Factory.
The other way to get around the Billy thing is start out with her.
Jeremy Clarkson.
No. Start out with the scene that we've already seen, and then go meta. Do a pullback, and actually you see it on a TV screen, and it's those three Doctor Who fans from that one episode were actually watching that on the TV, to where it didn't really happen in canon, so they can kind of get around it. And that's one way you can kind of get around with not answering the Billy thing.
Then a big ride-on lawnmower crashes through the front of the room.
Gary, you're just describing the Hooligans Christmas special for this year.
It's it's such a big lawnmower ride-on. It's actually a tractor.
You can take that idea, Luke. You can
driven by Paul McGann. And
I'll send you the script.
There you've got your opening. What an opening that would be.
A Christmas special led by Paul or Carol Ann Ford or Bonnie Langford. Who'd have thought 30 years ago, never mind 40 years ago, I'd be happy with a special led by Bonnie Langford as Mel. I'd totally down for that.
That's one for the 80s.
Just do a standalone hour-and-a-half TV movie with a star-named Doctor versus the Daleks. Russell could redeem himself. Just Doctor Who versus the Daleks, 90 minutes, Christmas Day. Who cares what went on before? Who cares what's coming next? Could that be enough to put your foot in the door and remind people, you used to like this show? It was bloody good, wasn't it?
Are you free, Phil? No. Can you ride a lawnmower?
I'd probably get like RuPaul or somebody.
Oh, God. We had to get a sponsor for the lawnmower thing, hadn't we? It's, what if Qualcast would consider being a sponsor? You never know, do you? You never know. Cigarette packets don't have a big surface area, Dan. There's Farsight, suggesting, of course, that Russell T Davies may fashion together a new script/stroke story on the back of a fag packet. I think that's what he's pointing at.
Technically, Dunhills do, because they are wider. But anyway.
Peter Harrington would like to see an adaptation of Chimes of Midnight for Christmas. He could take that. And Davey suggests it all smells like an eggy fart.
Well, sorry about that. I had beans for dinner.
That would be a good title for the episode.
Eggy fart. I think that was the name of the alien in the Saturday Night Live spoof. Eggy fart. Yeah, I could see.
No, you know what? Look, if the BBC is so in love with Russell T Davies, just have it be an hour where there's like a single stool under a single spotlight.
Like a poo.
Under a single spotlight. You have Russell come out and just sit and live read the script for an hour, and just have that be the Christmas special.
Can we have a fireplace, a rocking chair, and a bit of a Val Doonican vibe going on?
Yes, do that.
Perry Como.
Exactly.
Comatose.
It's an omnishambles, according to Stephen O'Neill. I like that word.
Oh,
yes.
That would be a big score on Scrabble, wouldn't it? Something like that. Very good, very good. We've got lots of laughing emojis from PVFS, the Peter Venkman fan site. That is. The general public would tune in for the Daleks, says Bill Silver. You know what, Bill? I agree with you 100%, mate. I completely agree with you. And Lord Thoth in the live chat. Hi, Lord Thoth. He says, we all know that Russell T Davies is actually this incarnation of the Master. We never thought of that. It would explain a lot. It would explain a lot. He'd probably do that. What? I don't know. Greetings and salutations. We're going back through space and time. Everything's all chopped up here in the live chat. But I think people are reeling. People are gnashing. People are wrestling with the logic of it all. But I think it's perfectly reasonable that you would. But then you've forgotten that there is no logic. This is Russell T Davies, Doctor Who, in the 21st century. In 2026, there is no logic. There's not much talent. There's no idea. There's certainly no stars. There wasn't even a script.
Well, wait, now I understand, Dan, why the title of this stream today on the thumbnail is Crisis.
Yeah.
So that being the case, and I think we were all four of us agree, and Charlotte would too, that this is a legitimate crisis. I mean, we have a Christmas special. We don't have we don't have either of two doctors. We don't have a script. So I think the only thing to be done is just to stage another Doctor in Distress recording and gather people together, and spend their time doing that.
You could have called this stream Doctor in Distress.
I did consider it, but I'd have to pay Ian a few £100 for that.
Yes.
He's a good guy, friend of the show, Ian Levine. But he's very firm on these things. So I'm too tight, basically. So, but Ian, could you consider yourself? Could you do a part 2 of the old tune? Because I think, we are in a crisis. Everything is, it is sort of in distress, isn't it? Undoubtedly in distress, and so is he. So are they. There is, where are we? There's no script. This was when we last saw the script. This is how it looked. There are no stars either. They're doing other things. Wow. They're busy people. They're in demand actors, and so that's the state of play. When last we heard, things do change. Of course they do. They have to change, otherwise nothing would ever get made. But right now, when last we heard, this is the state of play. Billy Piper is out. David Tennant is out. There was no script. They were starting from scratch. All they have is a window of time, which of course is shrinking as things move on. Will there be anything for us to watch? Or for him, his little face, for him to watch come Christmas Day? Let me know what you think, of course, as always, in the comments. When you've slept on that, when you've chewed it over a little bit, as well as everything else that we've talked about on this edition of the show. I can only imagine how Charlotte's feeling about now. What's going on? What's happening? I'm not Russell T Davies' biggest fan anymore. And in many ways, this is a situation that he's got himself. Well, this is a situation that he's got himself into. This is a situation he's got himself into. And he's a grown man. He's like, how old is he? Like 68, something like that.
62.
68. He's one of the most powerful guys. He's one of the most powerful guys in entertainment. If he can't get something made, something feasible, reasonable, watchable between now and Christmas, pull something out of his arse, then I don't think anybody can. But on the other hand, he does seem to be pulled in all sorts of different directions. And there are other things preying on his ideologically captured mind as we speak. So I just find it difficult to preempt any decision that Russell could make. And I used to be one of his biggest fans, but that's where we are. So this has been our report on the Doctor Who Christmas special. Doctor Who returns this Christmas, so the legend said, back in October. And to be fair, apart from that initial press release, all we've had ever since has been a wall of silence. If Doctor Who does reappear at Christmas, this will be the end of a 19-month period of there being no Doctor Who at all. And from what we're hearing, on the other side of that, more next time. So we'll leave it for you to mull over. Will Doctor Who return this Christmas? I don't know. And when we deliver the second half of this report, I think that's going to get people talking as well.
Unbelievable.
Okay, what next?
Hello, this is Sue Molden. On behalf of the team, I'd like to say how overwhelmed and extremely grateful we are to everyone who has donated so far. The response has been magnificent, and we are especially grateful to those who have pledged regular donations. A big thank you from all of us at Film is Fabulous.
How's that all going down so far there?
If there's a lawnmower in the Christmas special, I want a fee, and I'm going to donate it to Film is Fabulous. So there you go.
There is no dessert course, really. Just lots to gossip about between now and whenever, of course. We'll be chewing over it as well, and obviously keeping our ears to the ground for what could come next. Who do they get out of that? Where things are right now? Let us know what you think, of course, in the comments. As always, we've got more. We have more. Let's see what people are saying. A Christmas special title. Stephen O'Neill says here, keep off the grass. Keep off the grass. Bombs are flying, according to Steve and Jeannie Frith. Thank you, guys. Oh, you've been here before. I mean, you recognise the name.
I read that. I
cheers,
immediately
Lord
Googled Donald Trump.
Hey, Lord Thoth. Hail.
Yeah, thank you to Lord Thoth and all the moderators there in the live chat on YouTube. I know it's been a really busy show, so thank you. What's the point of the special now? Says Bill Silver. Well, we talked about that earlier on. It serves a function, a purpose, doesn't it? This. I mean, we've always described it as a placeholder, David, and I think that's more evident now than ever. There's more coming about that as well.
I think that's a very good answer.
Don't answer the SOS, says Matthew Pounder. Oh, it's ended in 1996. People are winding it all the way back to 1996. Now, people want to forget the new series. Oh, I don't. I'm still love the new series for the most part. Russell T. Davies and Alex Kurtzman, long-lost twins, says Pete Venkman.
Yes.
It has been mentioned before. It has been mentioned before. If you want to mention it again or anything else, you know what to do to stare us right in the face with your truth bombs. You can reach out to us, of course, on our social medias, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who. You can bet we'll be picking this up in the Type 40 Facebook group as well, imminently in the wake of this latest of our reports. So head over to the Facebook group and join in, get your say on all of the component parts to this report, or you can leave us some feedback through SpeakPipe. The link to all of that is in the description. Other live streams, past live streams for you to live stream, to live again our evergreen content there over in the playlists. Knock yourselves out with our various other commentary, reports and rolling news coverage. We have an impeccable, next to impeccable hit rate for these things here at Type 40 and Type 40 Live. Go and find out for yourself. Go and look up some of our greatest hits over there. And there's the Type 40 podcast, as always, across all major podcatchers. So Audible, Amazon, Apple, all those places. Or get them all at our home feed at type40.podbean.com. Did we win? Do you think we won? Sort of.
I think it's a tie at the moment.
Just a human race.
I got to tell you though, this has been a stream for the ages. I got to tell you, this has just been mind blowing.
There's a reason we don't do these all the time. I believe, David, in taking one's time to report on this stuff responsibly, because we all hear a lot of things, a lot of noise, and some of it is more credible than others.
I just realised I'll text someone now in a certain production company, see if there's any truth to this. When I do this about 2 hours ago,
I'm going to slide into Russell's DMs after this and suggest a kill a lawnmower thing. I'm going to say ring up Qualcast immediately.
Well, obviously, we can't reopen the discussion now. It'll have to be picked up another time. But
we're still going till I get definitive proof. We are going.
Russell,
stream.
I've heard you can get 2 for 1 on a Qualcast ride on mower. How about this for the special? I'm serious about it. I really am. The killer invasion of the killer lawnmowers. It's Dunstable is going to be the focus point of the
So
the Christmas special.
You've heard our findings, and regardless of how you feel about it, you could be really happy about what we've talked about. You could doubt the entire thing, and that's fine too. You could be very, very sad. That's fine. Of course, this is Type 40 Live. Those are our findings. You're entitled to your opinions and your takes as well, whether you're looking forward to the prospect of a Christmas special or not. We want to know your thoughts over the coming days and weeks. But yes, so things are still gleaming just about. Doctor Who does continue, and we'll be more back to talk about more. Getting tired now. We'll be back to talk about more, of course, here at Type 40 Live from 7:30 p.m. As always, no party lines, no beef, and no bullshit. Plenty of rants and raves and opinions, as always, are welcome. People still comments there before we drop the hammer. Thank you for your company and your interest, your indulgence, and for indulging all of the jokes, the knob jokes, the lawnmower jokes, and everything in between. Ezra Goldstein asks, what is the deal with the lawnmower?
Go back and watch the beginning of the show, Ezra.
We'll do an extra edit of the lawnmower. That could be good. Could be good.
Yes. Lawnmower
Good
extra.
night, everyone. I think I'll have a drink before your next revelation, Dan, says Farsight. We hope you've enjoyed the stream, Farsight, and Peter, and Stephen, and Lord Thoth, and everybody else. Stephen O'Neill says, get David Bradley in the Christmas special. David Bradley, I wonder, what's he doing nowadays? I haven't seen him in anything. I know he does a lot of comic cons.
Yeah,
he's
back
on that now. Stephen Genie asking, after developments at Film is Fabulous, as always, we recommend one place to go to find out everything connected to Film is Fabulous, and that's on Doctor Who: The Missing Episodes podcast, hosted by our friend of the show, Tim Beddoes. Right. Head over to that show across all major podcatchers. It's a quality podcast for anybody interested in 60s Doctor Who and who is tracking the story of the missing episodes, their entire story, as well as the likeliness of things turning up from wherever in the world, whether it's, I don't know, underneath someone's work table in a garage in Ipswich or on the other side of the world in some sort of shack holding
and
open
if you
a door.
don't already do so, follow Film is Fabulous on Facebook, because they put out long, really interesting, informative posts about their whole process. So please follow them on Facebook or any social media.
Unbeatable. Yeah, get in touch with Film is Fabulous. The links to donate to their cause, because obviously they're a registered charity. That's the most important thing. Read more about their work and donate if you can at the link in the description. Bombs are flying, says Stephen and Jeannie, and lots more besides. Luke, it's been fabulous to have you back for this one, mate.
Has it though? Really?
Festival last weekend.
Has it? I don't know.
Shut up, Gary. Remember when you were texting me being like, "Oh, I miss you, Luke. Oh.
Miss you, miss you."
That's what I honestly felt at the
teddy bear
time.
emojis, wasn't he, Luke? He was sending you all that stuff.
Yeah,
I honestly felt that at the time.
You big
He was
softy.
sending kisses as well. It's quite graphic at one point. It's terrible.
Thank you to Charlotte Shields for putting up with us.
The film festival was
as
good,
always.
though, Dan. It was good. Thank you. It was good. It was nice to go over to Ireland and see everyone over there and be around different people, I guess.
But not that called having crack. They say you're having the crack. Not that kind of crack. You can go to prison for that. I mean, the crack. They spell it differently. C-R-A-I-K. C, isn't it? C-R-A-I-C. Have the crack.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
very good. Very good.
It was good. We won best screenplay for I Made the Invisible Man. So there you go. That was nice.
Did you kiss the
kept that
Blarney
quiet.
Stone?
I know we were down where they shot Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, and
yes,
Force Awakens down on Ahch-To where Luke Skywalker hides out. So we were down that way for the May the 4th Sci-Fi Film Festival. So it was good. So yeah, there'll be a video coming out soon. You can see it. It's all about me going there on the hunt for Luke Skywalker. Who knows if I'll find him.
Which channel will people be able to see that on? If you give a quick plug, remind them. I don't know.
I don't know. Cinescope Pictures. No, it's not Cinescope Pictures on YouTube. Just Cinescope Ltd. Just have a look. We got hooligans coming, and if you do want to have a laugh, go to my Facebook page because you'll see me defend Jodie Whittaker and shooting at
go to his
quite
Facebook
vehemently.
page. Go to his Facebook page and watch his completely deranged theories about the last few years of the show.
And I also defend the Rise of Skywalker, so that says everything about me.
I heard you enjoyed it, Gary, that you thought it was the best content ever.
Rise of Skywalker. Well, hang on, let's not get carried away.
Oh, Luke's reels? No, I sit there.
Check that out.
I sit there with my jaw on the floor.
All the blasphemies you've been speaking. I'm quite fond of The Force Awakens, which does tend to wind a lot of people up, but I draw the line at The Rise of Skywalker.
I watched it yesterday. That's really
bombshell after bombshell, Gary. Bombshell after bombshell.
You know what? Honestly, I consider every film in the sequel trilogy like snuff films because they kill off an icon in every one of the movies. So
that's an interesting comparison. I'm off down the list and City fans.
Isn't it true? There goes Han. There goes Luke. There goes Leia. It's like boom, boom, boom.
I'm off down the Lincoln City fan zone to get some more Doctor Who gossip.
The Summer Wine cast members, don't they?
Yeah, they had to kill off Leia. She died in real life. You couldn't have her cutting about. So that was forced.
No, like Weekend at Bernie's, that would have been wrong. Yeah, they couldn't have done that. Yeah. You're quite right. Thank you, Luke. Thank you as well. Thank you as well, Gary. I know that you've struggled to keep your composure.
No, this has been. I can't handle all the revelations.
The truth.
Every few minutes. This was amazing.
This has been a kind of what they call ultra long content, and not that kind of ultra long YouTube content I'm talking about. Yes, Lord Flock, there only 6 minutes to hit the 3 hour mark. Some of that will be taken up by the end theme tune because it is that time. We're going to leave you to chew over everything contained in our report on this edition of the show, and all it remains for me to do is to say thank you for your company. Get talking about it in the comments. My gratitude, my thanks to everybody on the panel, to David and his. See, now I'm imagining you riding a lawnmower like Mad Max, like Tom Hardy's Mad Max riding
while he's
to
shaving
the Fury Road on a lawnmower.
I'm shaving and I'm mowing. I'm mowing Donna Noble's lawn and trimming up bushes.
Straight for the redhead. Yeah, you go for it. To Luke Walters, to Gary Akers, and as ever to Charlotte Shields too. Thank you everybody for a fabulous live stream. What do you make of all that then? We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. There's more to come. See you next time. Bye-bye.